I'm E.G. Marshall. Before you cross our threshold, perhaps I'd better warn you about something. If you can't stand the sight of blood, you may not want to hear our latest offering, because this... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Before you cross our threshold, perhaps I'd better warn you about something. If you can't stand the sight of blood, you may not want to hear our latest offering, because this is a story all about blood. Blood in its three variations of meaning. The blood ties of family loyalty, the blood of violent crime, and just plain human blood. Think you can take it? Very well. Then please come in, pick out a comfortable chair, and try not to be too squeamish. Our mystery drama, Thicker Than Water, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Henry Slessor and stars J. Gregory. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
Excuse me, sir, but do you know what happens this time of year?
Right on, pal. I happen to know that right about now a freak blizzard falls on Dumont, New Jersey, and they're snowed in for the rest of the summer. Happens every year.
Nope. You see, what happens this time of year is that you can get a particularly good deal on what is perhaps the most luxurious mid-size car on the market, the mid-size Buick Century Regal.
Well, what good's a car when you're hopelessly snowed in?
Well, that's a point.
Hey, Mom, what's for dinner? Hey, Mom, what you got?
What's for dinner? Your ShopRite supermarket suggests choice beef first-cut chuck steaks, just 59 cents a pound this week. Save 2 on smoked ham, shank portion 69 cents a pound, butt portion 79 a pound. For a quick meal, try Swanson's Frozen Hungry Man dinners, just 99 cents each. For dessert, ShopRite's produce department is featuring fresh honeydew melons, 79 cents each. They're great topped with ice cream. There's lots more for a little less at your ShopRite, so stop in soon.
She loves the family. She wants the best. She does all that she can do. She lets ShopRite do the rest. Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? ShopRite has the answer.
You're listening to what some people think of as jungle noises. But in this case, the jungle is what they think our large metropolitan cities have become. Stalking places for predators who prowl the darkened streets, the foliage of our parks, the isolation booths of our elevators and hallways, looking for victims to satisfy their greed, their hunger, or their simple lust for blood. But the well-dressed man who walks down this particular dark and quiet street in a neighborhood of crumbling tenements and menacing shadows doesn't seem to be aware of lurking danger until danger stops lurking and strikes.
Hold it, mister. What is this? Oh, shut up. Shut up and hand it over. The wallet. Where's the wallet?
Here, in here.
Give me that. And now, here's something for you.
Help me. Somebody help me.
May I come in, boss?
Yes, come on in, Olga.
Thanks. I didn't bring you any flowers, but from the looks of this room, you didn't need any.
I wish somebody would get them out of here. Place looks like a funeral home.
Well, is it all right to ask how you feel?
Go ahead and try.
How do you feel?
Don't ask.
Oh, I knew I'd fall for that old gag. No, seriously, Nick, how are you? You certainly look like your old self.
Yes, I'm my old self, Olga. With something extra. An 8-inch gash in my side.
Oh.
Fortunately, it wasn't very deep. They keep telling me I'll heal nicely. Whatever nicely means.
Oh, you poor man. Why did this have to happen to you?
Why not? People get mugged in nicer parts of town than the place I was at. I guess the police were right.
About what?
They asked me why I was dumb enough to be walking around that neighborhood like a fat cat at 11:30 at night. They say I was just begging for it.
Why were you there?
I told you. I had an appointment with Roy Otis. Talked to him about the Parsons case. I thought I could get him to drop the charges if I went to his home personally and reasoned with him. Funny thing is, I succeeded. I was feeling so pleased with myself that I didn't think about what I was doing.
So you walked right into the arms of the mugger. I don't know what I'm going to do with you, boss. I suppose you've seen the morning paper.
No, I haven't. Story in it?
Of course, the story's in it. And guess what they say?
I can imagine. Legal defender of muggers gets mugged. I'm sure they got a big kick out of that. Headline writers dig irony.
Well, they don't actually call you a defender of muggers, but you are sort of number one in the field, aren't you? Roy Otis, that Wilson boy, the Fredericks case.
I never meant to specialize. And I can tell you one thing. It'll be a long time before I go to court to defend some knife-wielding punk.
I knew you'd feel that way.
Can you blame me?
No, I guess I can't, but that isn't going to satisfy Mr. Bleecker.
Who?
Well, don't you remember all those phone messages I've been giving you for days from Mr. Arnold Bleecker?
Yes, I remember the name. I told you to tell the guy that I'm hardly in any position to take on a new case.
Well, from what you said about your condition, you will be going back to work soon, right?
Yeah, I'll be back at the old desk in a week, I guess.
Well, that's what I told Mr. Bleecker.
Olga, will you please explain that funny look on your face?
It's because Mr. Bleecker wants you to defend his son. He's desperate to have you defend him.
What's his son charged with?
Mugging, of course. What else? Mr. Wedge's office. Oh, yes, Mrs. Hamilton. How are you? No, he's in conference at the moment, but I think I know the answer to your question. The hearing will be held at the municipal court on the 27th. Oh, yes, of course. And Mr. Wedge will be talking to you before then. Yes, I'll tell him. Goodbye.
Good morning.
Oh, hello, Mr. Bleecker.
I guess you're not so happy to see me, are you, miss?
Well, it's not that, Mr. Bleecker. It's just that, well, that I've told you it won't do any good. Mr. Wedge simply isn't able to take any more clients at the moment.
Look, I gotta get a lawyer soon. I gotta have a lawyer right now. The judge told me either I get somebody or the court will appoint somebody.
Well, you could do a lot worse than a court-appointed attorney, Mr. Bleecker. Even Mr. Wedge does that sort of thing now and then.
He does?
Yes. Most criminal lawyers do. Well, without fees.
Well, then, let him do it now. For me, for my son. But I'll pay him. I'll pay him anything he wants.
Really, Mr. Bleecker, it isn't a matter of money.
Yeah, I know. You look at me, you see a poor man, but I'll pay. I'll get the money somehow.
Olga, do you still have the file out on the Fredericks?
Mr. Wedge, please. I gotta talk to you. I've been trying to talk to you for days.
Would you be Mr. Bleecker by any chance?
I'm sorry, Nick. I told the man
Please,
that you
let
couldn't
me say 10 words to you. Have you got the time to hear 10 words from somebody?
All right, Mr. Bleecker, come on in.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
No, I'll stand. I'm too nervous to sit down.
Mr. Bleecker, I can save you some words. I know about your case. I know that your son has been arrested for stabbing that man.
Only he didn't do it. That's the thing. It was somebody else, and they arrested my Benny.
Well, I'm not saying that isn't possible.
I know it's true. My son told me it was true, and I believe him.
Oh, that's fine. That's the way it should be between a father and a son. But if he really is innocent, Mr. Bleecker, the chances are excellent that he'll go free.
No. The chance is rotten. The way things look, there's almost no chance. That's why I need somebody like you. Somebody who got other boys out of trouble.
I'm not a mastermind, Mr. Bleecker.
Yeah, but you got them all off. All those other boys. I heard about you. I asked around. I talked to all kinds of lawyers, and they all said, you get Nick Wedge. Nick Wedge will get your boy off.
Well, as I said, if he's really innocent, any decent attorney...
I'll pay you what you want, anything. Just get my little boy out of that place.
He's not too little, is he? 18?
He looked me straight in the face and said, Pop, I didn't do it. I didn't knife that man. You believe me, Pop? He said, I'm swearing it. On Mama's grave.
Mr. Bleecker, I'm really sorry. My schedule is full, and I was hoping to get away for a vacation at the end of the month. You see, I had a little accident myself recently.
Papers made it sound so bad. They said there are witnesses. They say people saw Benny with the knife in his hand. How could they say that? People, strangers, why would they say that about my boy?
Mr. Bleecker...
I Don't say he's an angel. He runs around. He fights. Boy without a mother. It's a wild boy sometimes. Now, what can I do? I got a 24-hour business. I drive a fuel truck. I'll sell it, Mr. Wedge. You can have whatever I get for the truck.
Mr. Bleeker, listen to me. After you started coming here, I looked into the case as much as I could. I can tell you this much. It's not going to be easy to prove innocence. Maybe impossible. But it is a first offense. And with a charge of armed robbery, well, the court might be lenient.
So you looked into the case, huh? You didn't look far enough, Mr. Wedge. You didn't keep up.
What do you mean?
The man who was stabbed, he died last night.
Who are you?
I'm your lawyer, Benny. Maybe.
You the lawyer my father told me about? One who gets everybody off?
If that's what he's told you, he's wrong. Sit down, Benny. We have things to talk about.
When can I get out of here? They told me I'd get out as soon as I got a lawyer.
Whoever told you that was wrong, too.
What about bail? My father says he can raise bail for me.
Bail's been refused.
What?
You heard me. Now, this is a capital offense. The victim is dead. The charge is now homicide. The court has refused bail.
You mean I gotta stay in this crummy place?
Until the trial, yes.
When's that?
Don't rush it. We need every minute of delay we can get. I don't think this is going to be easy.
Why shouldn't it be? I didn't stick that guy. I didn't have nothing to do with it.
You admitted to the police that you were there when Kenneth Archer was stabbed?
Sure I was there. I was hanging around with some guys.
You were hanging around with a street gang called the Silver Stars.
It's not a gang. It's like a club. We got a basketball squad and everything.
Yay, team.
We were all just walking down the street when this guy Archer came right in the middle of us. Now, maybe one of the guys stuck him. How should I know?
Benny, why do you carry a knife?
It's only a Boy Scout knife. They sell them all over. I use it for carving things, like, you know.
Carving what? Totem poles?
Hey, whose side are you on?
All right, sit down. Let's go over facts the way the cops have them down. Anytime I say something that isn't true, you interrupt me, all right?
Yeah.
It was 10 minutes to midnight on October 9th. You and 4 other guys, all members of the Silver Stars, were walking down Thurman Street. Kenneth Archer was rounding the corner and bumped into you. Somebody shoved him. And somebody called him a wino. And then there was a scuffle. Archer fell to the ground and everybody started running. Everybody but you. You waited behind and bent over the guy.
I wanted to see if he was okay.
Shut up. I don't want explanations. Just stop me when I say something that isn't factual. Now, you bent over Archer and then you ran off. By now, there were a couple of witnesses. Both of them say they saw you with a knife in your hand. When they reached Archer's side, he'd been stabbed in the chest. His wallet was gone.
Okay. So somebody stuck him. Why does it have to be me?
Half an hour later, the cops caught up with you in your father's fuel supply office on Chester Street. The knife was still in your pocket. Well?
It wasn't me.
Are you saying it was one of your pals?
No. I don't even remember who they were.
You mean you don't give their names? That's against the code, isn't it?
It's a big club. This Silver Stars got maybe 50, 60 guys in it. I don't know them all.
You're not helping yourself, Benny. And you're not helping me.
But what do you want me to say? I didn't kill that guy. That's all I know.
The police have the knife. It's Exhibit A. They have the knife, they have the witnesses, and they have you. Now, what have I got?
You're the lawyer. You tell me.
All right, Benny, I'll tell you. I want you to cop a plea.
Huh?
I want you to plead guilty.
You crazy?
It's the only thing that makes any sense. You put this case to a jury, you'll spend the rest of your life in a cage. Plead guilty and you'll get a break.
I won't do it. I'm innocent. I'm not going to jail for something I didn't do.
I'm talking sense to you, Benny.
But I didn't do it. I swear it.
I'm only trying to help you, son.
I'm not your son. I got a father.
No, Mr. Wedge, don't say that. You can't give up. You've got to help my boy.
Oh, that's what I'm trying to do.
I know how you feel about kids like Benny. I know what happened to you.
Well, that has nothing to do with it. If your son won't take my advice...
But if he takes your advice, if he pleads guilty to second-degree murder, he'll go to jail for sure, right?
Yes, he'll go to jail.
For something he didn't do.
Mr. Bleecker, I know you're his father, but that doesn't give you the right to ignore the facts. Look, a father's faith is a wonderful thing, but it's not a defense.
Yeah. You're right. I don't know what I'm talking about. I better go.
Mr. Bleecker.
Yeah?
All right. It's the dumbest decision I ever made, but we'll plead not guilty and then wait for a miracle.
Well, it looks like Mr. Nicholas Wedge stands a fair chance of going into court with a losing case. They say that preparation is 9/10 of the battle for an attorney. But how does one prepare for a miracle? We'll find out shortly when I return with Act 2.
At Suburban Savings in northern New Jersey, you're always the tops. So to help you reach the top, Suburban is offering you a top 7.90% effective annual yield on their 7.50% savings certificates. And Suburban guarantees it from 4 to 10 years. Just a $2,500 minimum is all you need to get your savings straight to the top. Federal regulations allow premature withdrawals on savings certificates, provided prescribed federal penalties are adhered to. Of course, Suburban also has other ways to top off your day with a wide selection of other savings plans to choose from. Your savings will always come out on top because we offer you the highest interest rates allowed by law. Come into any Suburban Savings office conveniently located in Bayonne, Edgewater, Elmwood Park, Emerson, Hackettstown, Morris Plains, Nutley, Paramus, Sparta, and Wayne, and choose the right savings plan for you.
This is WOR New York, your Mystery Theater station.
Here we are in the Criminal Courts building downtown. And from the looks of the crowd, the case of the People versus Benjamin Bleecker has attracted more than usual interest. But it's not Benny Bleecker they've come to see. Benny is just another young ruffian charged with just another street crime. But the star of the occasion is the lawyer who will be defending him. And the point of curiosity is, how will Nick Wedge succeed in saving his client in the face of some highly damning testimony?
Mr. Dankers, you reside at number 8 Thurman Street.
Yes, sir.
Have you lived there long?
About 10 years.
Please describe the events that you personally witnessed on the night of October 9th.
Well, I was sitting on the stoop getting a breath, and these kids come up the street. They was all wearing purple jackets. I didn't pay no attention on account of you see kids like that all the time, you know? They were marching like in a straight line, taking up the whole street, you know? And then this man comes around the corner.
The man being Kenneth Archer.
I didn't know the name at the time. He was just a man coming around the corner. And he bumps into this line of kids.
Was there a scuffle then?
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of pushing and shoving, all right. I mean, these were the kind of kids who thought they owned the whole street, you know?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained. Just describe what occurred, Mr. Dunkers.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. Anyway, they all started pushing and shoving this man around, just because he bumped into them. And then the next thing I know, he was on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Had he been hurt, in your opinion, or just knocked to the ground?
Well, I couldn't tell, you know. I mean, he was kind of on his hands and knees like.
And what happened to the young men who knocked him down?
Well, they all ran off, you know. I mean, kind of laughing and yelling stuff.
All of them?
Yeah. All 5 of them run off. Only then one of them turns back all of a sudden and goes up to the guy. I saw him bend over him.
Did he speak to the man?
I don't know. I don't think so. I saw him reach down. I guess that's when he stabbed him.
Objection.
Sustained. Please don't volunteer information, Mr. Denkers. Just answer the attorney's question.
All right, Mr. Dankers. What happened then?
Well, then he ran off, just like the rest of them. But that's when I saw the knife in his hand.
You actually saw the weapon,
I sure did.
but you didn't know that the knife had actually been used until you went up to Kenneth Archer.
Objection, Your Honor. The assumption that the wound was caused by the weapon that this witness presumably saw is unwarranted.
All right, I'll be happy to amend my statements, Your Honor, that Mr. Dankers didn't know that a knife had actually been used until he went up to the fallen man.
Will that satisfy your objection, Mr. Wedge?
Yes, sir.
Go on, Mr. Dankers. You say you ran up to the man to see how badly he was hurt.
That's right, and by the time I got there, I saw all this blood on the ground.
Mr. Dankers, how far away were you when all this happened?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 feet.
You got a good look at the people involved in this incident?
Well, I don't remember what the kids looked like, the ones who ran away, but the one who came back, the one who did this, you know what I mean. Him I saw clear as anything, and the knife in his hand.
Do you see the man in the courtroom right now?
Yes, sir. Yes, I do. That's him over there.
All right, no further questions.
Counsel for the defense may cross-examine.
Mr. Dankers, do you always wear glasses?
That's right.
Actually, even with correction, your vision isn't very keen, is it?
I'm 67, mister. Wait till you're my age.
It was almost midnight on a street which is lighted by a street lamp actually 30 yards from your building. Is that right?
I never measured it.
Well, I have, and you can take my word for it. The lamp is a good 30 yards from the scene of the crime, yet you saw a small jackknife. This knife, Exhibit A. Look at it, Mr. Dankers.
Yes, I saw it.
It's not a very large knife, is it?
But I saw it just the same. It was sort of flashing in the light, you know? To tell you the truth, I might not have noticed it at all if it wasn't for one thing.
What's that?
Mrs. Dankers, my wife. She was sitting right next to me, and she said, "Look, Sol, that boy's got a knife."
All right, Benny. Let me get this straight. You claim that you don't remember the names of the other boys who were with you that night,
That's right, Mr. Wickers.
even though they were members of your own gang. Pardon me, your own social club.
I just met him. I mean, look, see, we all came out of this movie together. I mean, I didn't even talk to him.
Mm-hmm, I see. Benny, you do carry a knife, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, yes, sir. But, just a Boy Scout knife. Not a switchblade or anything like that.
In fact, you were carrying this knife on the night of October the 9th.
Well, yeah, I always carry it.
In fact, it was still in your pocket that night when the police picked you up.
Yes, sir.
By the way, son, were you a Boy Scout?
Who, me? No.
Uh-huh. No further questions, Your Honor.
Nick, would you like a coffee now?
Oh, yeah, Olga, bring it in. If you have some whiskey, bring that in, too. In fact, forget the coffee if you got whiskey.
Oh, sorry, boss, but it has to be coffee.
All right, thanks.
Nick, it's not going so well, is it?
Well, that's the understatement of the year.
Do you think you made a mistake putting the boy on the stand?
Well, I didn't know what else to do. I don't have any rebuttal witnesses. I don't have anyone to get up there and say that Benny Bleeker didn't have that knife in his hand. That he didn't kill Kenneth Archer. I figured the kid's own sincerity had to be my witness.
Well, do you really think he came off sincere?
What do you think?
Me? Oh, I just sharpen the pencils and make the coffee, and judging from your expression, not very well.
Well, it's not the coffee. It's me. I've got a bad taste in my mouth. It's called premonition of disaster.
You're going to lose, aren't you?
As far as I know, there's only one person in the whole world convinced of that kid's innocence. Unfortunately, that person is his father.
Too bad you can't get him on the stand.
He won't make a convincing character witness. Although he did a good job on me, didn't he? If it hadn't been for that guy, I'd never have taken this case.
Nick, do you know something? You don't look well.
Losers never look well.
When this is over, you ought to see your doctor again. Maybe that knife wound is acting up.
A head shrinker, that's what I ought to see.
No, I mean a doctor.
You know something? It's a thought. Maybe I ought to see Doc Haggerty.
Who's he?
Well, you remember Haggerty on the Hofstra case, 1969?
Oh, well, he's not the kind of doctor I mean. He's a sort of biochemist, isn't he?
That's right. He's got an office at Dugan Hospital. Olga, I'm going out. If anybody wants me, I'll be back around 4.
You mean you're going to see him now?
Yes. To find out if he's got any good medicine.
I don't understand you, Nick. You say the police have already examined the boy's knife for bloodstains using the standard benzodine test.
That's right. It didn't show any. But that didn't mean anything. They claimed that naturally Benny would wipe the knife clean.
Well, that stands to reason.
But you told me once that there was a more sensitive test for bloodstains, remember?
Yes, there's another test. It's called the reduced phenolphthalein test. It's far more sensitive, in my opinion, but it's not universally accepted. Why do you ask?
Doc, I want to make that test.
Well, all right. Get me the boy's knife.
I can't do that. It's court property. Exhibit A for the prosecution. But could you demonstrate the test for me with another knife? One just like it.
I suppose so. If you have one like it.
I do, right here. I picked this up on the way over. It's identical to the knife Benjamin Bleeker carried. Pretty cheap, too. $1.98.
Well, the cheaper the better.
Why do you say that?
I'll show you. First, I'll mix up some of the reduced phenolphthalein solution. Then, when it's done, we'll dip the knife blade into some whole blood, wipe off every trace, and dip it into the solution.
And even after it's wiped, a stain might appear?
Well, that's what I meant by a cheap knife being better. In a cheap knife, the blade is porous, so it retains microscopic quantities of blood. Even after it's wiped off. Well, let's see what happens, huh? All right, Nick. You ready for the test?
Ready when you are, CB.
Okay. Now, first, we'll dip the blade into the whole blood.
Where do you get that stuff? From vampires?
All right, then we'll wipe it absolutely clean. There. Does that look clean to you?
Like a whistle.
Okay. Now, we'll place it in the solution and watch carefully.
Hey, stuff's changing color, turning pink.
Well, you see what I mean? What appeared to be a perfectly clean blade isn't clean at all. The blood tells a story.
That's really amazing, Doc.
In fact, the bloodstains might have been there years ago, and this test would still show them up.
So if I took the kid's knife, put it into the solution, and it turned pink...
You'd be one lousy lawyer, Nick. You'd be sending your client to prison.
Yeah, maybe.
And maybe unfairly, too, because, you see, the test doesn't prove whose blood is on the knife. Even if your client just cut his own finger once, it'd work just the same. He'll look just as guilty.
All right. That's something I can straighten out with him. Right now.
Hello, Benny.
Hi, Mr. Wedge.
Benny, I want you to listen to me very carefully. I've got something important to ask you. I've got an idea that may save your skin, but I have to know something. And it's got to be the truth.
What is it?
There's a test, Benny. A test that can determine whether or not there was ever blood in that knife of yours. Ever. Understand?
Yeah, so what?
Well, I intend to make that test in court tomorrow. If it's negative, the jury will know that you didn't kill Kenneth Archer.
Oh, I don't understand that kind of stuff.
I'm not asking you to understand. If you stab that man, a jug full of chemical is going to turn pink, and you can kiss your freedom goodbye. But there's something else. If you ever cut anybody with that knife, even yourself, that chemical will turn pink. So, I want you to tell me now, was there ever blood on that knife?
Hey, you're trying to trick me?
Answer the question.
I told you I didn't cut that guy.
Benny.
No, it was brand new. I never cut nothing with it.
Are you sure? Absolutely sure. Not even your own finger.
No.
You can fool me, kid, but you can't fool a test tube.
I'm telling you the truth.
All right, Benny. We'll see how true it is. We'll give that knife a bath tomorrow. And God help us both if you lied to me.
Well, it looks like Nicholas Wedge is facing a real test in that courtroom tomorrow. He'll be putting his own convictions on the line in order to avoid conviction for his client. Personally, I plan to attend that court session, and you will too, simply by staying right where you are, until I return shortly with Act 3.
When you say Budweiser, when you say Bud, you say a lot of things nobody else can say.
When you say Bud, you've gone as far as you can go to get the very best.
When you say Bud, you tell the world you know what makes it all the way. When you say Bud, you say you care enough to only want the queen of beers. There is no other one. There's only something left, because the king of beer is leading all around. When you say Budweiser, you've said it all.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
This is Marty Glickman with this week's Jets Biz. This Sunday afternoon, the New York Jets play the Chicago Bears. Won't you join me and Jet star Dave Herman for all the live Jet action from Soldiers Field in Chicago at 1:35. That's 1:35 for the Jets-Bear game this Sunday afternoon right here over WOR Radio, flagship station of the Jets Network.
Once again, the trial of Benjamin Bleecker is a well-attended affair. But the spectators have no idea that they're about to witness a dramatic experiment in which chemical science will be matched against eyewitness testimony. But let's quiet the courtroom now because the judge has something to say.
Mr. Wickers, is the prosecution prepared to make its summary?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Wedge?
Your Honor, something has occurred which I consider of paramount importance to this case. I ask the court's permission to introduce new evidence for the defense.
Objection. The defense has had sufficient time for the introduction of evidence. I suggest this is a delaying tactic.
What sort of evidence, Mr. Wedge?
It's a demonstration, Your Honor. A demonstration which will, in my opinion, clearly establish my client's innocence. Or, for that matter, his guilt.
Your Honor, if Mr. Wedge would like a postponement...
I don't want a postponement. I want to make this demonstration now. If I may be permitted to describe it to the court.
Mr. Wickers, if the prosecution has no objection.
All right, very well, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Wickers. If I may come forward, Your Honor.
What is it you have there, Mr. Wedge?
This box, Your Honor, contains a beaker with a chemical solution formulated for the detection of blood stains.
One moment, Mr. Wedge. Are you introducing expert testimony?
Please indulge me, Your Honor. Just let me explain what it's all about.
Very well.
If I may have Exhibit A. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen this exhibit many times in the course of this trial. The knife which presumably killed Kenneth Archer. The knife which was in the possession of Benjamin Bleecker on the night of the slaying. Now, when someone is killed with a knife, what happens to that weapon? Invariably, it becomes covered with blood. And yet, during this entire trial, not one mention has been made of that word. Well, I mention it now. Blood. Look carefully at this weapon. I'm sure you all know that it has never left the court's possession since my client was arrested. Now look at this blade. See how clean and shiny it is? That's not surprising. The knife is new, purchased only a few weeks ago. But what may surprise you is that this clean, shiny blade can still tell a story of guilt or innocence. For as every chemist knows, there is a virtually infallible test which can determine whether an object of such porous metal has ever touched even one drop of blood. Your Honor, I intend to prove once and for all whether I have been defending a young man falsely accused or a lying murderer. I intend to dip the blade of this knife in a solution of reduced phenolphthalein, the most sensitive of all blood detection chemicals.
One moment, Mr. Wedge.
Yes, Mr. Wickers.
You say that this beaker contains what?
Well, I'll try to pronounce it a second time, Mr. Wickers, although the first was tough enough. Reduced phenolphthalein.
And how can we be certain that it contains this solution? Could be lemonade, as far as we know.
I have a statement here from Dr. Harold Haggerty of the Dugan Hospital, testifying as to the contents.
One moment, please. If you plan to produce expert testimony, why isn't that expert here to testify?
I don't plan to call a witness, Mr. Wickers. I plan only to make this test.
But you are aware that the accepted blood test in this county is the benzidine test, which is...
If the prosecution will allow me to conclude my statement...
Mr. Wedge, do you presume to be a greater expert in forensic chemistry than the county police laboratory?
I'm not presuming anything. I'm telling you that if the knife blade turns this solution pink, it will prove beyond a doubt that there was blood on Benjamin Bleeker's knife. But if it remains clear...
Your Honor, objection.
State your objection, Counselor.
This is the most ridiculous and flamboyant thing I've ever seen in the courtroom. The police laboratory has already made the standard test of the weapon and found no bloodstains on the knife. It was wiped clean.
But, Your Honor, the sensitivity of this test
At no time during this trial has the prosecution denied that absence of bloodstains. Mr. Wedge is planning to demonstrate something we already know, using a test which is not accepted as standard laboratory procedure. I suggest that this so-called demonstration is pure theatrics, intended to mislead and confuse the jury.
Mr. Wedge, the court must agree with the prosecution. You are not a qualified expert in forensic chemistry. Mere corroboration of the police laboratory report is gratuitous evidence which must be considered inadmissible.
But my client was willing to have me make the test. Don't you see? He knew the chance he was taking.
I'm sorry, the demonstration is improper. The objection is sustained.
But, Your Honor...
Sustained, Mr. Wedge. You cannot make the test.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I believe that Benjamin Bleecker is innocent. I believe this because of a test which I was not permitted to make. This boy knew that the results of this test might have condemned him to life in prison. And yet, Benjamin Bleecker told me to proceed. What could be more obvious? That no guilty person would have done so.
Will the foreman of the jury please rise? Has the jury reached its verdict in this case?
We have, Your Honor.
How do you find the defendant, Benjamin Bleecker? Guilty or not guilty?
We find the defendant not guilty.
bless you, Mr. Wedge. God bless you for what you did out there.
Yeah. You really did a job on him, Mr. Wedge. Gee, thanks a lot.
I didn't ask you in here to congratulate me. I had another reason.
I know we should talk about the fee.
No, Mr. Bleeker. It's not my fee I'm worrying about. It's my conscience.
Your conscience? Why?
Because of what I just did.
Yeah, but you saved my boy.
Yes, I know. But in order to do that, I had to resort to exactly what the prosecuting attorney called pure theatrics.
What? I don't understand.
I didn't want to make that test. Do you understand? I didn't want to make it. Didn't even plan on making it. I would have had to, I suppose, if there was no objection. But that was the chance I took.
Now, wait a minute. You didn't want to?
If the stuff in this beaker had turned pink, it would have been all over for your son. I was counting on the prosecution objecting. I wanted their objections because I thought the jury would be impressed simply by the fact that we were volunteering this experiment.
Yeah, but if you had made the test, it would have been all right, too.
How do you know?
Well, because it would have been. Because what my son said was true.
Well, there's only one way we can really know that, isn't there? You see this, Mr. Bleeker?
Hey, that's my knife.
That's right. Exhibit A.
What are you going to do?
We're going to make the test that judge wouldn't allow. We're going to make it privately. Just for us.
But why? What does it matter now?
It matters to me. That's why. Hand me that knife, please.
The knife?
Give it to me. Don't you want to know the truth, too?
The truth.
Pop, for the love of... Pop, what are you doing?
Bleeker, what are you doing with that knife?
I'm cutting myself with it, Mr. Wedge. Cutting my hand with it.
Pop, are you crazy?
Here, Mr. Wedge. Here's your knife. Make your test now.
Well, that's what I would call a bloody good demonstration of fatherly affection. Maybe Nicholas Wedge will never know whether his client was guilty or innocent, but he'll never forget that he's seen vivid proof that blood is, indeed, thicker than water. I'll be back shortly.
Pardon me, miss. Can you tell me what happens this time of year?
Rhubarb reaches its peak.
Nope.
Muskmelon reaches its peak?
No.
Oh, does it in any way involve something reaching its peak?
No, not really.
Oh.
What happens this time of year is that you can get a really outstanding deal on Buick's small but surprisingly elegant Apollo. And with what's happening to prices, you may never have a better chance to buy a Buick, huh?
Hey, I know what happens.
Yeah?
The buzzards come back to Hinckley Ridge, Ohio.
Oh. I hadn't thought of that.
Our cast included Jay Gregory, Robert Dryden, Bob Caliban, Grace Matthews, and Ira Lewis. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Buick Motor Division. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The WOR Mystery Theater has been brought to you by ShopRite Supermarkets, where you get a lot more for a little less. By Suburban Savings, with offices throughout North Jersey. And by Dubonnet, a wine to go before your meal made to make what comes after better. The preceding Mystery Theater program is furnished by the CBS Radio Network.
Lewis in the Mutual Broadcasting System studios in Washington, D.C. Now, my commentary. Congressional liberals, most of whom had been admirers of the leftist regime of former President Salvador Allende in Chile, were today bitterly angry in the wake of admissions by President Ford during his press conference last night that there may have been some anti-Allende activity on the part of the CIA in that South American country. The very heavily liberal Senate Foreign Relations Committee today ordered further staff investigation of the reports of U.S. involvement in the political affairs of Chile, and also investigate allegations of deception by Secretary of State Henry Kissinger and other officials regarding that involvement. Arkansas Democrat Senator J. William Fulbright, the chairman of the committee, said that his panel will decide within a week or 10 days whether to reopen hearings on CIA intervention against the government of former President Salvador Allende. The Marxist leader was deposed and killed in a military coup in September of 1973. President Ford, last night at his news conference, said that the United States had no involvement in that coup, but it did undertake some covert action to support news media and political parties that were opposing Allende. And President Ford last night defended those actions on the part of the CIA. Chairman Fulbright said the committee members were outraged by the leak of a confidential memo recommending perjury and contempt investigations against former CIA Director Richard Helms and State Department officials on the basis of prior testimony before congressional committees. That memo was prepared by Jerome Levinson, the counsel of the Foreign Relations Subcommittee on Multinational Corporations, headed by Idaho Democrat Senator Frank Church. Fulbright said the memo was intended to be a working paper and did not represent any committee members' conclusions. Senator Church said that the Levinson memo was set aside by the full committee in a closed meeting this morning in favor of an investigation by the full committee staff under the direction of the panel's chief counsel, Pat Holt. Commenting before the meeting, Church said our policy in Chile was unsavory and unprincipled. He added, it cannot possibly be justified unless we've taken the view that our methods and objectives in the world are the same as those of the Soviet Union. Arkansas Democrat J. William Fulbright said, I don't approve of our intervention in other people's elections, but it has been a long and continued practice. The senator spoke to reporters before the closed meeting of the Foreign Relations Committee. It will be discussing further the staff memorandum recommending perjury and contempt investigations against several present and former government officials regarding their prior testimony on the U.S. involvement in Chilean politics from 1969 to 1973. President Ford now has before him a proposal to reorganize the National Security Council and strip Secretary of State Kissinger of his White House role as Assistant for National Security Affairs. The president's reaction to the recommendation, which has been drafted by his transition team, is not yet known, but it is understood that no firm decisions have yet been made. The aim would be to revitalize the National Security Council as a broader-based presidential advisory body in the area of foreign policy and national security. State House sources indicate that they were neither surprised nor disturbed by the proposal. Some expressed the view that the National Security Council had been going downhill since Kissinger moved from the White House to the State Department a year ago. When he made that move, he took many top Security Council people with him. For more than 5 years, Kissinger has dominated the council as its operating head in his role as presidential assistant. Ford is chairman of the top-level panel today. When Kissinger became Secretary of State, former President Nixon kept him on as chief of the National Security Council staff. In fact, the Secretary of State has retained a spacious White House office, which he uses often in connection with National Security Council work. Within the government, some believe the National Security Council under Kissinger's domination has become, in effect, an arm of the State Department. Those who criticize the present setup express fears that it may deprive the president of advice from some other quarters. President Ford and outgoing White House Chief of Staff Alexander Haig were today denying published reports that Haig had persuaded the president to change his public position and to grant the pardon to former President Nixon. When asked about a New York Times article quoting an unidentified source as saying that Haig was primarily responsible for the Nixon pardon, Haig today said, it's all wrong, it's just not true. The Times said that Haig warned Ford that unless he moved quickly in granting an unconditional pardon, it might be too late to avert what was termed a possible personal and national tragedy of Nixon's complete physical and mental collapse. Acting White House Press Secretary John Hushen said today that he asked President Ford about that report, and he today quoted the president as saying, Al Haig never discussed with me the mental or physical condition of former President Nixon prior to my decision to grant the pardon. Haig has been White House Chief of Staff since former President Nixon persuaded him to replace Watergate casualty H.R. Haldeman in the spring of 1973. Yesterday, President Ford announced that he was recalling the four-star general to active military duty and appointing him as the U.S. commander and supreme Allied commander in Europe. Haig's denial of a role in the Nixon pardon came when newsmen approached him just prior to the start of a cabinet meeting today. It was followed several hours later by a detailed denial offered by Hushin at the daily White House news briefing. Both Hushin and Haig said the presidential aide had had no contact with any member of the Nixon family or with any of the former president's friends. When asked whether Haig had urged Ford to grant the pardon, as the New York Times contended, Hushin said no. Al Haig's role was described to me as basically neutral. He was certainly in favor of the pardon, but he did not lobby for it. West Virginia Democrat Senator Robert Byrd said today that he fears President Ford has made another mistake in his offer of clemency to draft dodgers and war deserters in the Vietnam conflict. Senator Byrd said that the president short-circuited the established legal processes in granting a pardon to former President Nixon and in now doing the same thing with his amnesty proposal. The Democrat whip said in a floor speech, the evaders and deserters made their choice. They acted of their own volition. They knew what they were doing. If they choose now to say they were wrong and they are prepared to accept the normal consequences of their actions, that is one thing. But 24 months of so-called alternate service in a civilian hospital or elsewhere, in my judgment, is in no way to be equated with the hardships which 2.5 million young Americans gallantly endured in Vietnam. Senator Byrd said he also opposes the proposal because of what he termed the inestimable damage it does to the morale of the thousands who served and to the families of those who did not come back, and the threat that it poses to the proper operation of the selective service system and any future national emergency. Virginia Senator Harry F. Byrd, Jr. endorsed the comments of the West Virginia senator. Senator Harry Byrd added, those who deserted their units, those who refused to serve the country in time of war, should not be given a slap on the wrist for perhaps a few months and a comparatively easy job just to make up for their refusal to serve the nation when they were called upon to do so. Senate and House conferees agreed tentatively today on public financing for presidential election campaigns, but not for Senate and House races. Unexpectedly quick agreement also was reached on spending and contribution limits at a first meeting to reconcile differences between Senate and House campaign financing bills. Ohio Democrat Representative Wayne Hayes, the chairman of the House conferees, said that he expects a final compromise draft to be completed before the end of this week. He said that although no formal vote had been taken, the general consensus was that there would be no use of tax funds to finance campaigns of candidates for the Senate and the House of Representatives, either in general or in primary elections. Public financing of congressional campaigns had been provided for in the Senate-passed bill, but it was not provided for in the House version. Representative Hayes said that public financing for presidential campaigns would be in accord with the terms of the House bill. This provides for $20 million in tax funds for each major party candidate for his general election campaign. Presidential candidates seeking their party's nomination would be eligible for up to $5 million in federal funds under certain conditions. Hayes said that the conferees had accepted the House limits of $1,000 on individual contributions and of $5,000 on contributions by various organizations. This amount may be given for each race. Both bills restrict total political contributions by an individual in any 1 year to $25,000 to all candidates for federal offices. The conferees were reported to have accepted the Senate limitations on a candidate's spending of his own money in his campaigns. These are $50,000 for presidential candidates, $35,000 for senatorial candidates, and $25,000 for House candidates. As for spending limits on congressional candidates, Hayes said that the conferees accepted the House figures for the candidates for the House of Representatives and the Senate figure for candidates for Senate. For House candidates, the limit would be $60,000 in both their primary and general election campaigns, exclusive of an additional 25% for fundraising costs. Candidates for the Senate could spend on their primary campaigns the higher of $125,000, or 8 cents times the voting age population in their state. From the Mutual Studios in Washington, I'm Fulton Lewis, and that's the top of the news as it looks from here.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. The human brain, we are told, contains 3 areas. The conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious. We have, all of us, experienced the effects of these areas, especially that strange no-man's land between waking and sleeping, between dreams and reality, when we are never quite sure where we are, or at times even what we are. So then, we can understand, relate to Vicky Carson's strange adventure. Our mystery drama, The Garden, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by George Lothar and stars Jennifer Harmon and Jack Grimes. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act 1.
Say, do you know what happens this time of year?
The swallows come back to Capistrano.
Nope.
The buzzards come back to Hinkley Ridge, Ohio.
No.
Bulldogs all over the world begin to shed.
Not even close.
Oh.
This, my friend, is the time of year when you can get a super little deal on the practical but elegant Buick Apollo. And just between you and me, it may very well be the best chance you'll ever have to buy a Buick.
I could have sworn this was Buzzard Day in Hinkley.
Hey, Mom, what's for dinner? Hey, Mom, what you got?
What's for dinner? Your ShopRite supermarket suggests choice beef first cut chuck steaks, just 59 cents a pound this week. Save 2 on smoked hams. Shank portion, 69 cents a pound. Butt portion, 79 cents a pound. For a quick meal, try Swanson's frozen Hungry Man dinners, just 99 cents each. For dessert, ShopRite's produce department is featuring fresh honeydew melons, 79 cents each. They're great, topped with ice cream. There's a lot more for a little less at your ShopRite. Stop in soon at ShopRite.
She loves the family. She wants the best. She does all that she can do. She lets ShopRite do the rest. Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? ShopRite has the answer.
Well, good evening, Mystery Theater fans. This is Gene Shepard, and we're sitting here having a very friendly roundtable discussion with many of our listeners who gather nightly here at the 710 spot on the dial. And if you'd like to join our little evening gatherings, I'm on every night at, let's see, it's 9:15 now. 9:15. You write that down. And make sure that you bring all the things you need to be prepared for a fantastic evening. I'm on every night from 9:15 until 10. Join our little group some night. We sit around and discuss the world and enjoy life and walk around in the weeds and just be people. 9:15 on WOR.
I think I may say without fear of denial that man has thought more about life and death, particularly death, than about any other subject in the world. Some say that death is the end of us. Others that it is a rebirth. Others, well, no matter, for no one really knows. Or perhaps they do. Perhaps at least 2 people know. Vicky Carson and Jack Gibbons, who... But enough. Let them, not I, tell their story.
Oh, where am I? How did I get into this terrible place? This forest, this jungle. Help me. Please, someone help me.
Hello? Hello?
Hello? Who are you? are you? There's such a fog. I can't see.
Keep calling. Keep saying something, anything, so I can follow the direction of your voice.
Oh, yes.
Well, say something.
I don't know what to say.
Anything. Say it. Oh, I'm caught again, these blasted thorns. You hear me? Say something, anything. A poem, a prayer.
A prayer. Oh, all right. I don't know any prayers. Wait, I know. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country.
Okay, keep saying it.
Yeah. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their...
Okay, that's enough. I've reached you.
Oh, you poor man. You're all scratched. You're bleeding. You're covered with mud.
You'd be, too, if you'd been trying for I don't know how long to fight your way out of this jungle. Oh. Who are you?
Vicky Carson.
Jack Gibbons. What was that crazy stuff you were giving out with?
Crazy stuff?
Now is the time for all good men to something or other.
Oh, that. It's an exercise they give you in typing school. I guess I did it so many times I'll never forget it.
Oh, you go to a typing school?
Well, I did before I became a secretary. I was a secretary, you see, and... Well, that's funny.
Well, what?
I said I was a secretary. I spoke of myself in the past tense as if I was... Or like that.
Well, you're anything but, you ask me. And nobody as beautiful as you could be...
Oh, thank you. Where are we? What is this place?
Well, you got me. You don't know?
No. All I know is I'm here somehow, and it... Oh, this place, it scares me.
I'll tell you the truth, me too. The trees... God, I don't know. Maybe it's the heavy gray fog, but the trees all look deformed.
Evil. Kind of evil.
Yeah. And the plants, the flowers... I don't know. There's something about them. Hey, we can't just stand here. Never get out. We'll do that. Come on.
Where to?
I don't know. We'll just keep walking till we get somewhere.
Well, all right. Whatever you say.
Well, all right. Come on.
I can't move. I caught on something. My ankle. Something's around my ankle.
Well, here, let me see what... Hey! Something wrapped around my neck all of a sudden.
The vines. Vines hanging from the tree. Jack, I think they're alive.
But they don't seem to be.
My body now. The vines are wrapping themselves around my...
I'm strangling.
Crushing me. Crushing. Jack, help me.
I can't help myself.
You need help?
What? Who's?
Man. Good Lord, it's like a giant.
I said, you need help.
Yes, help.
Well, help us.
It'll cost you.
Cost us?
I help you, you gotta pay.
Pay?
I got something you need. You want it, you pay for it.
Oh, anything.
Remember that. Now stand still, the two of you, while I rip these vines away. There. There. You're free.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Who are you?
You can call me Mordred.
Well, what is this place, this awful jungle?
It's not a jungle. It's a garden.
A garden?
I know. Looks more like a jungle. Well, that's what happens to gardens when nobody cares. See you.
No, wait. Don't leave us alone.
Don't worry. I'll be around again to collect.
Collect?
What you owe me. You said if I helped you, you'd pay anything. You will.
Jack. Oh, Jack, can't we rest a little?
No, Vicky, we gotta keep moving. Gotta find a way out.
If only that man, that ugly giant of a man, hadn't left us.
Oh, I'm glad he did. The guy frightened me. Come on now, don't lose your nerve. After all, you're not alone anymore. I'm here.
Oh, and I'm grateful for that. Believe me, Jack, listen.
Yeah, I hear it, too.
Sounds. Whatever it is, it sounds lovely, charming.
Come on, let's see if we can locate it.
Oh, Jack, not so fast. Slow down.
Yeah. It's hard to breathe. It's bad air.
Oh, thorns are catching my dress. The vines are tangling my feet.
Okay. We'll take it slow. Easier. Is that better?
Oh, much, thanks.
Aim to please.
I can't get a pulse, Doctor.
Jack, listen.
Doctor, I tell you, I get no pulse at all.
Did you hear that?
The music?
No, a voice. A voice that said something about... Oh, something about... Jack, I remember.
Hey, cool it. You remember what?
Something about an operation, a serious operation.
Whose?
I think mine.
Yeah? Well, let's keep moving. We'll never get to where that music... Now what?
I'm sorry, but my feet are stepping in it. Oh, it's like mud.
Hey, too. Now, what in the... Mud? More like glue.
Oh, quicksand.
Quicksand?
It is. I'm sinking. Oh, it's deeper and deeper. I'm sinking.
What do we do? What do we do?
I don't know anything. Oh, Jack.
Huh?
There. A woman. Just be still a moment. Don't move.
Vicky, she's the most beautiful.
Now, come toward me. We can't move. Yes, you can. Move slowly. There's no hurry.
I can move.
So can I. But it's amazing. And don't talk. Save your energy. You haven't much left. Oh, that's it. That's right. Oh, and here you are, safe and sound. I don't know how you did it, but... Oh, thank you.
Not at all, Vicky, not at all.
For a moment there, I thought... How do you know my name?
You're surprised?
Well, yes, after all, we've never met.
Oh, but we have several times.
Well, I don't remember ever...
Perhaps you don't recognize me.
Who are you? What's your name?
Whatever you please.
Whatever.
What is your favorite name? What name do you like most in the whole world?
Oh, you wouldn't believe it.
Tell me.
Well, I don't know why. I can't even remember where I heard it or saw it. In a book, maybe, but... Well, anyhow, it's Drusilla.
Drusilla? Oh, a beautiful name.
Not as beautiful as you. I'm sorry. Excuse me, I shouldn't have. I mean... Well, you are beautiful, and I had to say it.
Thank you. And now then, come with me, please.
Oh, where?
If you look over there, you'll see a wall and a gate in the wall. Follow me.
The music seems to be coming from the other side of the wall.
Yes.
And hey, everything's kind of changing. The air smells good.
Yes.
Oh, I smell flowers. I mean flowers that smell the way flowers ought to.
Birds. I haven't heard birds singing since...
Since when, Jack?
I don't know. I can't remember.
No matter. Here we are.
Oh, Jack, look. Beyond the gate. Oh, Drusilla, that's the most lovely. Jack, look. Look, Jack, flowers everywhere. Oh, and fountains, too, and birds, and... Oh, that heavenly music.
Out of sight. Plain out of sight.
Thank you. But the garden really isn't mine. I merely take care of it. See that everything is properly cared for. Well, now shall we go in?
Well, just lead the way.
Vicky?
I don't know, but...
I thought you were delighted with what you see.
Oh, that's it. I'm afraid even a short visit here, I couldn't bear to go back. There.
But, child, it needn't be a short visit. In fact, it needn't be a visit at all.
Are you saying we can stay?
Forever.
Oh, no.
Mordred.
You're not as clever as you think you are, sweetheart. These two belong to me.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
Yes. You seem to forgot that you owe me and haven't paid.
Mordred, let them go.
Not me, sweetheart. Not till they've paid in full.
How strange the tricks the human mind can play. Is it some sort of dream Vicky and Jack are going through? A vast, gulf, a bottomless abyss, lies between the conscious and the subconscious. We'll perhaps learn precisely in which of these realms Vicky and Jack are having their strange experience when I return shortly with Act 2.
When you say Budweiser, when you say Bud, you've said a lot of things nobody else can say. When you say Bud, you've gone as far as you can go to get the very best. Yeah. When you say Bud, you tell the world you know what makes it all the way. When you say Bud, you say you care enough to only want the king of beer. There is no other one. There's only something less. Because the king of beer is leading all the rest. When you say Budweiser, you said it all. You've said it all.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
Suburban Savings in northern New Jersey would like to set you straight on savings. Straight off, Suburban offers you the highest interest allowed by law. A big 7.90% effective annual yield on Suburban's 7.50% savings certificates. And Suburban guarantees it from 4 to 10 years. Minimum $2,500. Federal regulations allow premature withdrawals on savings certificates, provided prescribed federal penalties are adhered to. Of course, Suburban also has a whole selection of other savings plans that keep your savings headed in the right direction, straight up. Why not head straight over to your nearest Suburban savings office, conveniently located in Bayonne, Edgewater, Elmwood Park, Emerson, Hackettstown, Morris Plains, Nutley, Paramus, Sparta, and Wayne, and let them set you straight on savings.
This evening, tune in for a new feature show on radio, In Conversation. It's a lively half hour of intelligent and entertaining discussion between bright, inquisitive personalities and very well-informed guests. We'll be offering conversation on politics, theater, the media, sports, music, books, the press, filmmaking, and humor. Our hosts change almost every night, and this week you'll be hearing Nat Hentoff, author, journalist, and social critic, actress Celeste Holm, Arthur Knight, film critic, and tonight, Brendan Gill, author and drama critic for the New Yorker magazine. That's In Conversation, tonight and every weeknight.
That's Tonight at 10, here at 7:10.
Vicky Carson, wandering about in a strange and evil garden, unable to say how she got there, meets Jack Gibbons, and they in turn meet a giant of a man, Mordred, as vile and ugly as the garden itself. Later, to their relief and delight, they meet a lovely woman named Drusilla, who invites them into another garden, a garden of such beauty that they beg to stay in it.
They owe me, these two. They're going back with me till they've paid in full.
Oh, no, not back there. Not to that awful place.
Mordred, please let them stay with me.
You know better than to ask that.
Please, Drusilla, please save us from going back.
My dear Vicky, I cannot.
But you must. I can't bear it to go back to that horrible place.
Child, you must. You see, the Garden of Death is...
So that's what it is. The Garden of Death. And he, Mordred, is death. He is death.
Vicky, child, listen to me.
Enough talk. Come on, let's go.
Wait. What are you going to do with them? Two of them. How do you intend to make them pay?
I don't see it's any business of yours, but since you ask, I need someone to do the heavy work.
Another slave?
If that's what you want to call it, I can use him on the treadmill. He'll be able to ease my burden in many ways. As for her, I can use her to make life more pleasurable in quite another way.
Drusilla, no. Please, please don't let him take me back to the Garden of Death.
I can do nothing to prevent it.
Jack! Jack, save me! Protect me!
Vicky, if I could. But I'm no match for Mordred. He could break me in two.
Funny you should put it that way, Mr. Gibbons. That's exactly what I intend to do.
Jack. Oh, if you'd only let me massage your back, your shoulders.
No, don't touch them, please. I'm in such agony, I couldn't stand it, not even to be touched.
Oh, it's horrible. Horrible.
Horrible isn't the word for what he's doing to me. There is no word. I'm on that treadmill 12 hours a day. 12 hours. Horrible.
For me, too.
You? Oh, you gotta be kidding. Look at you. Dressed like a queen. Your hair, your skin, your nails. Nobody was ever kept better than you.
Kept? Yes. Like a prize animal.
And me like a dog. What he's doing to me, words can't describe.
Broken back, I'm afraid. Broken back.
Oh, car accident. I'm remembering.
Car accident? What car accident?
I don't exactly remember, but don't remember. Was I drunk?
Jack.
Yes, I think I was drunk and out of control. Car out of control.
Lumbar vertebrae. Third, fourth, fifth. Smash.
That voice.
What voice? I don't hear any.
I do. I don't. Not now, but I thought.
The way I did? The way I thought I heard someone saying they couldn't get a pulse?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, Lord, what's happening to us?
I think... You know what? I think either way we're dying.
That's what I've been thinking.
What makes you think it?
She told us. Drusilla, that we're in... She called it the Garden of Death.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But every now and then we hear those voices.
Yeah, I can't be sure, but I get the feeling I was killed in an automobile accident. Only maybe I'm not yet. Like I could be on an operating table in some hospital, sort of between there and here.
Exactly. And I had, or could be having, right this minute having an operation. A serious operation, and I'm halfway on the borderline of dying or living. Oh, God, let me live. Let me live. Don't let me... Please don't let me stay here.
Oh, come on, pull yourself together.
I can't bear being...
What can you do about it? What can I do about it? Nothing.
No, there is something. I've been thinking about it. I'm going to find my way back to the Garden of Life.
Garden of Life?
Drusilla's. I'm going to get back there somehow.
How?
I don't know. I don't know yet, but I will. I'm not ready to die. Not yet. I'm going to live, Jack. You'll see. I'm going to live. Jack, wake up.
What is... What?
Shh. Don't wake Mordred. And don't talk. Listen. Jack, I found a path to the Garden of Life.
You found...
Come with me. Come.
Crazy. Plain crazy, wandering around in the moonlight like this.
I'll find the path. It's here somewhere.
You seem awfully sure.
I am. Every chance I got this week, day and night, I came out here and searched, and I found this path.
How do you know it leads to the Garden of Life?
It goes straight in that direction. I followed it as far as a clearing, but had to turn back before I could... Jack! Here it is!
Yeah, you were right.
Let's not waste time. Come on.
Where is it? Where is it? You said the clearing.
Not far now, not far. I hope.
What have we got ourselves into? What have you got me into? This jungle, it's alive with God knows what.
Oh, will you stop your moaning and groaning? If we can reach Drusilla's garden. Yes, there it is, the clearing.
Where? I don't see it.
Straight ahead. That big patch of moonlight. That's it. Come on now.
lumbar vertebrae completely crushed.
What's that?
If he lives, he'll never walk again.
What's what?
That voice. Didn't you hear that voice?
No, Jack. Jack!
My back. The pain. I can't move. I can't move.
Oh, Jack. Oh, you must be in terrible pain. You've got to get to that clearing. You've got to do something. Drag him. See if I can drag him. Jack. Made it. Jack.
What?
We'll rest a while. Here in the middle of the clearing. It'll do you good. Regain some strength.
Yeah.
How is the pain?
It's not bad now. I can bear it if it doesn't get worse. Good Lord, what was that?
I don't know.
Shadows in the trees, flitting in the trees, huge shadows. Birds. Big birds, monstrous.
Jack, I'm scared. Oh, they're coming out of the trees. Heaven help me, I've never seen such birds. It's giant birds.
They're going to kill us. That's what they're going to do. Kill us.
Oh, no, they're coming for us. They're clawing at us.
The beaks, they'll tear us to shreds.
Leave them alone. I command you, leave them alone. Drusilla. Go. Drusilla. It's Drusilla. Oh, thank God.
Are you all right?
Oh, yes, thanks to you, yes.
What are you doing here? How did you find this place?
I found a pathway. We followed it. What is this place?
It has no name. It's just an area, space between the two gardens. Mordred's and mine. Neutral ground. What are you doing here? She wanted to get to your garden.
Well, so did you. Don't blame everything on me.
Blame? There's no blame in wanting to be in my garden. Only a fool would want to remain in Mordred's.
Oh, you think so, do you?
Mordred. Priscilla, don't let him take us back. Please don't.
Softly, child. Softly. I'll do what I can.
Which is nothing at all. They're mine, these two, and they will remain mine. Get up, you. On your feet.
I can't. I'm in terrible pain, awful pain.
I don't give it how much pain you're in. On your feet.
No, must you kick him?
None of your business what I do to him.
I can make it my business. You know that. I've done it more than once when your brutality has become too much for me.
Oh, shut up. Go back to where you belong. Now, I'm telling you for the last time. Get on your feet.
All right. Oh, all right.
And you, sweetheart, get going.
No, I can't go back.
Oh, yes, you can.
Oh, please.
Mordred, enough. Let her be, or I warn you, I'll take this matter to the master.
Much good that'll do you.
There's one way to find out.
Hold it just a minute.
Yes?
Now, there's no sense bothering him with
I
this.
think there is. You've gone too far again.
I don't know about that.
I do. What's more, these two, Vicky and Jack, are on neutral ground between your garden
But
and
they
mine.
belong to me.
To you, always to you. Will you never learn I have as much right as you? Can't you get it through your stupid, greedy head that it's pointless to argue like this, wrangle like this? It always ends the same way.
If you mean compromise.
What else would I mean?
You take one, I take one.
Yes.
I don't know. I can get a lot more work out of him.
He's in frightful pain. His back, he can't work in such pain.
Drusilla, don't let him take me back.
I'll take her. You keep him.
No.
Shh, quiet. I want to think about this for a moment, Mordred.
Nothing to think about. I've decided.
It's my decision, not yours. You had first choice last time.
You can't blame a guy for trying, huh? Okay. Which one do you want?
Which one? That's the question. Which?
As Drusilla ponders her decision, Vicky and Jack watch her with eyes that hold indescribable yearning. For one, it will mean life. For the other, death. Which, then, will be the lucky one? The one Drusilla will choose to return with her to her garden. We'll know the answer when I return shortly for Act 3.
Excuse me, sir, but do you know what happens this time of year?
Right on, pal. I happen to know that right about now a freak blizzard falls on Dumont, New Jersey, and they're snowed in for the rest of the summer. Happens every year.
No. You see, what happens this time of year is that you can get a particularly good deal on what is perhaps the most luxurious midsize car on the market, the midsize Buick Century Regal.
Well, what good's a car when you're hopelessly snowed in?
Well, that's a point.
And now, with another story of mystery and intrigue, here is Commander Neville Putney to keep you in anxiety. And what's this story about, Commander?
Well, it concerns a middle-aged business executive named Fremont Witherton, who, after spending his entire career with the same firm, returned home one evening with his dreams suddenly shattered.
Is that you, Fremont?
It's me, Erica.
Fremont, you look so peaked.
Erica, I've been fired. That new plant manager, he's been trying to cut me out, and today he succeeded.
Well, you don't need to give me that hangdog look. Just go out and get another job.
I'm through, Erica. I'm 58 years old. Nobody will hire me for half the salary I've been making. My only hope is to kill the plant manager.
Fremont, I hate rough stuff, but if you've decided, your Roscoe's upstairs in the trunk. You load it, and I'll warm up the getaway car.
Hey, young man, how about that for a story?
Well, that was a dilly, Commander, but you just can't leave us this way. How did it all come out?
Time's up for now, but tune in, Bob and Ray, on WOR 3:15 to 7, and maybe you'll find out.
There is no mystery about the morning when you come rambling with gambling. Good evening mystery fans. This is John Gambling, and every morning, Monday through Saturday, here at WOR from 5 a.m. till 10, we get the crew together to try to put the morning together for you, to tell you what the weather's going to be like, whether there's heavy traffic coming into the city, whether the subways and the commuter trains are running. Bob Harris is in WOR's Weather Center every morning with all that very complicated equipment that he has to help prognosticate the day's weather. We cover sports completely with Don Cricky. In the news department, Peter Roberts, Henry Gladstone, and Harry Hennessy. And up in the helicopter, George Meade or Fred Feldman, keeping an eye on the traffic scene. So altogether, we do try to take any mystery out of the morning. And just to brighten up the beginning of your day a little bit, I think we have some kind of nice, listenable, and tuneful music. So tune in tomorrow morning or any morning for Rambling with Gambling. Now, back to the mystery.
Why is life so full of troublesome decisions? Maybe life would be easier, pleasanter, if there were no options, no choices. Maybe not. Can't say. And frankly, I can't say whether the strange and beautiful Drusilla will choose Vicky or Jack to take back to her enchanting and enchanted garden. Let's find out, shall we?
Take me. Oh, please take me.
No, me. Listen, Drusilla, I'll be a lot more use to you. I'll get over this bad problem. You'll see, and I'll work for you. Work even harder, longer than for Mordred.
Don't listen to him. He's a liar and a cheat.
Cheat?
Yes, trying to cheat me out of what's rightfully mine. Who found this path? I did.
So you found the path, so what?
So I deserve to go with Drusilla. I was the one who wanted to live.
Don't listen to her.
I'll take neither of you.
What? Neither?
I'm sorry. Truly sorry. When we met before, I felt each of you close to being worthy of joining me in my garden, but now... No, I want neither of you now.
But why not? Why not?
You've changed, the two of you. There's hate in you now. Jealousy, greed. You're not worthy anymore. Mordred?
Yes?
Take them. Both of them. Back with you.
Jack, you hear me? I know you do.
What do you want?
Stop that thing a minute.
I can't. It's a treadmill. You get on a treadmill, you stay on it. For some reason.
Well, can you hear me? Listen. Drusilla was right. We've become greedy, selfish, full of hate.
When it comes to hate, believe me, I am full of it.
That's what I want to talk to you about. I've found a way to get back to the Garden of Life.
Oh, not again.
Yes, again, and this time we'll make it. It's simple. All we have to do is get the greed and hate out of our systems. Get to be more like we were when Drusilla first met us.
Hey, you know, maybe you have got an idea at that.
Of course I have. There's just one problem.
What?
How do we do it? How do we get rid of hate, for instance? Like, I hate you for getting me into the mess I'm in.
I got you.
Yes, and more than that, You were willing to sacrifice me to Mordred so that you could be with Drusilla in the Garden of Life. I hate you for that. I mean, I really hate you. How do I stop?
You can't stop.
Mordred.
Fools. The two of you. You can't stop hate. It's too strong to be stopped. Too powerful. The most potent force in the human race. And who told you to take a rest? Come in.
No.
Here's another across your back so you don't forget.
No.
You.
Yes, Mordred.
Come to me in an hour.
Yes, Mordred.
If I could only stand up to him. I didn't have his back. I had more strength. God, how I hate him.
I do, too. And I must stop it.
You can't stop it. Give him his due. He's right about that. There's nothing more powerful than hate.
I wonder if there isn't.
You just go right on wondering. But do it somewhere else. I hate the sight of you.
Hello? Drusilla, can you hear me? It's Vicky. I'm at the garden gate. Drusilla?
What is it, Vicky?
Oh, I didn't know you were standing there.
I wasn't till now.
May I come in? Please, just for a moment.
I'm sorry, no. You must stay on that side of the gate.
I think she's gone, Doctor. No pulse at all.
Well, perhaps for a moment.
Did you hear that voice?
Yes.
What did it say?
Well, you heard it.
I keep hearing it. Now and then. But I can't remember a second later what it said.
What is it you want, Vicky?
I've come to tell you I don't hate anymore.
Oh?
I hated Jack and Mordred, but not anymore. So may I stay? Why do you look so sad?
Because I am. When people lie to me, it makes me sad.
But I'm not. All right, I lied. But only because I can't stand it anymore. I've got to come here. I'm just dying to be with you.
Yes, I know. But I can't have you in my garden until you've put hate out of your heart.
I can't. I've tried. I keep trying, but I can't do it.
Not alone, no.
But I am alone.
No one in your world is alone. They just forget who's with them. Always.
Who?
God.
God?
You've heard of him, I think.
Well, yes, but...
But what, child?
How do you get in touch with him?
Easily. Just think of someone else for a change. Do something for someone else.
I don't understand how.
There's nothing to understand. Just do it.
Massaging the heart is doing it, Doctor. I'm getting a pulse again.
You must go now.
That voice. I heard it again.
So did I. Go now. Quickly.
But I don't want to go. Oh, I can't go, not back to Mordred and Jack and all the awful things back there. Drusilla? Gone. Oh, why couldn't you let me stay? Why? Gun? Jack, that's a gun.
Yeah.
Where did you get it?
There's plenty around. No sweat.
What are you going to do with it?
What I should have done long before now, and you're going to help me.
Help you? Help you do what?
Kill the dirty, rotten swine.
Kill? Mordred?
I don't know why I never thought of it before. I guess he had me so scared the thought never crossed my mind. But it has now. It's the one way, the only way of getting free of him.
And you want me to help you?
Well, you will, won't you?
Jack, that's murder.
I'd call it justice.
It's murder. It's killing someone. It's taking a life. You can't do that.
Oh, yes, I can.
Jack, listen to me. You want to be with Drusilla, to live in the Garden of Life as much as I do. And to murder someone, there can't be anything worse than that. I hate worse than that. Murder Mordred and you'd be barred from the Garden of Life forever.
All I want is to be free of Mordred. And I'm going to be whether you help me or not. Now, will you or won't you?
Oh, Jack,
Now, you listen to me. You've got no more chance than I have of living in Drusilla's garden. You've got as much hate in you as I have in me. So much that neither of us can ever get rid of it. Well, we can at least get rid of Mordred. Be free of him forever. After that, Well, life here won't exactly be a picnic. But it'll be a hell of a lot easier and happier. I'll play it smart, Vicky. Help me. Vicky.
All right. What do you want me to do?
Level with me, baby. What are you up to?
Up to? Why, nothing, Mordred.
For the last 2-3 days, you've been all sugar and spice. A big change from the hellcat you were.
Now, you said you'd tame me, darling, and I guess you have. I could use something to kind of pick me up.
Like what?
A drink.
A drink? You don't drink?
Well, there's always a first time.
Well, what do you know? You are changing. Well, sure. What'll it be?
Champagne.
Right on. Now, let's see. Here we are. But, sweetie, it'll take a while to chill.
Well, can't we drink it warm?
Warm champagne? Well, why not? Never had it that way, but like you said, there's always a first time. Hey, now I know why they chill it. Warm champagne goes all over. Hey, quick, give me the glasses all over the place.
Here you are.
Yeah, there. Now, what do we drink to?
Us.
Yeah, sure. To us. Here, bottoms up.
Bottoms up.
Oh. Not bad. Warm champagne's not bad after all, huh? Again?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mordred! What's happened?
I don't know. All of a sudden I feel weak and dizzy. Hey, what have you done to me? The glass. You put something in my glass. The room's going around. I feel sick.
You won't be feeling sick long, Mordred.
Gibbons, what is this? The gun. You're going to kill me.
Oh, you figured that out all by yourself? That's real smart of you.
Oh, played me for a sucker, didn't you, doll? Suddenly, all sweetness and light, and I fell for it.
Mordred, I'm sorry.
What are you sorry about? Got this rotten pig right where we want him now.
No, don't, Jack, don't.
Vicky, you're a fool. He gets it, and he gets it now.
No! Oh!
Vicky! Oh, my God.
It's all right. Oh, it's better this way.
Better? I shot you. You threw yourself in front of him.
Yes.
Why? Why did you want to save him?
Not him. You. From murder. From a sin of hatred you might never be forgiven.
I don't get it.
She said, Drusilla, if you want to rid yourself of hate and be with me, think of someone else for a change. Do something for someone else. Vicky! Drusilla? Come, Vicky. Come now, child.
She's gone, Doctor. No question now.
Come, my dear. Come. Yes. Yes, yes, I'm coming, Drusilla. I'm coming. Drusilla. Oh, Drusilla.
There now. There.
Hush.
Rest a bit. Rest. Don't even try to move. Just rest here in my arms for a little while.
I'm here. In your garden at last.
Yes?
I did something for someone else. I lost the hatred that was in me.
Sorry, Doctor. Her heart just couldn't take it.
That voice.
Don't worry about it. You've heard it for the last time. Now, would you like to see the garden?
But I do see it.
Only a part, a small part.
Oh, but nothing could be more beautiful than this. The flowers. Oh, I've never seen such gorgeous colors. And the fountains are they're like quicksilver shining in the sun. And the birds, they're so beautiful. Oh, nothing could be lovelier than this.
You'll see. Come. Vicky, why do you turn back?
Jack, Can't he come too?
No, he's not ready, I'm afraid. But he will be one day. He'll join you here. But first, life must teach him all he needs to be taught.
Life? Until life teaches?
Child, life on Earth is a school. That's all it is. You go to school again and again until you learn all you need to know in your heart now to join me here.
But you sound as if a person has to die before coming here.
True. You are, to use your word.
But all this unbelievable beauty, this incredible loveliness, it must be the Garden of Life.
No. You were in the Garden of Life, a garden filled with corruption, hatred, greed, every vile sin a human being can create. But you've at last escaped into my garden, the Garden of Death.
Then you must be.
Yes. Who else, child? Who else?
I've never thought of death as being a beautiful woman, have you? Birth, life, death, only words, really. Symbols we use to express the unfathomable. Who is to say that life is not really death? Or death, life? And birth, a state somewhere in between. Who is to say? Not I, surely. I'll be back shortly.
There is no mystery about the morning when you come rambling with gambling. Good evening, mystery fans. This is John Gambling, and every morning, Monday through Saturday, here at WOR from 5 a.m. till 10, we get the crew together to try to put the morning together for you, to tell you what the weather's going to be like, whether there's heavy traffic coming into the city, whether the subways and the commuter trains are running. Bob Harris is in WOR's Weather Center every morning with all that very complicated equipment that he has to help prognosticate the day's weather. We cover sports completely with Don Cricky. In the news department, Peter Roberts, Henry Gladstone, and Harry Hennessy. And up in the helicopter, George Meade or Fred Feldman, keeping an eye on the traffic scene. So altogether, we do try to take any mystery out of the morning. And just to brighten up the beginning of your day a little bit, I think we have some kind of nice, listenable, and tuneful music. So tune in tomorrow morning or any morning for Rambling with Gambling. Now, back to the mystery. Hello.
I really don't know that there's much I can say. You heard, and what you heard has surely given rise to thoughts you may not have entertained before. As I said at the outset, there are those who believe that death is not death, but birth. That indeed what we call life is in itself a death we go through to find the reality of life. I wish I knew for sure. Our cast included Jennifer Harmon, Jack Grimes, Nancy Coleman, and Joe Silver. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Buick Motor Division. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Tonight's WOR Mystery Theater was also brought to you in part by ShopRite Supermarkets, where you got a lot more for a little less, and by Suburban Savings, with offices throughout North Jersey. The preceding program was furnished by the Columbia Broadcasting System. An exhibition of hooked rugs and the folk art tradition is now on display at the Museum of American Folk Art, 49 West 53rd Street in Manhattan. This is WOR New York, an RKO General Station.
British Research Institute says Reds hold lead over the United States in long-range missile potential. Senator Stennis says our Navy is better than theirs. Jaworski subpoenas former President Nixon in the Watergate cover-up. It's 72 degrees in mid-Manhattan. The man says partly cloudy tonight, partly sunny and mild tomorrow, chance of showers tomorrow night. This is John Scott with the 8 o'clock edition of the news featuring the Financial Review. A British Research Institute reports the Soviet Union is leading the world in a number of long-range missiles it possesses, and China is slowly but steadily building up its nuclear capability. In its annual survey, the International Institute for Strategic Studies states the Russians have nearly 600 more long-range nuclear missiles than the United States. The Institute's experts estimate that under present building plans, the American nuclear arsenal won't catch up with the Soviets for another 5 years. The chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee has denounced speculation that the U.S. Navy is inferior to that of the Soviet Union. Democrat John Stennis of Mississippi called such talk false, alarmist, potentially dangerous. In a Senate speech, Stennis declared that on a Navy-to-Navy basis, the Soviet Navy does not match the capability of the U.S. Navy. He also said the Soviet Navy has no significant sea-based air power and no major amphibious assault forces. Special Watergate prosecutor Leon Jaworski has subpoenaed former President Nixon to appear as a witness in the Watergate cover-up trial. Lawyers for the former president today ask that subpoenas in 2 civil cases stemming from the Watergate break-in be killed. And for the first time since he resigned from office, Mr. Nixon claimed executive privilege in behalf of his presidential tape recordings. Informants say Jaworski issued a subpoena to the president reluctantly. He considered it the only known way to get 33 presidential tape recordings introduced into evidence at the trial, scheduled to begin October 1st. Among those facing trial are former Attorney General John Mitchell and former top White House aides H.R. Haldeman and John Ehrlichman. The Foreign Minister of the Republic of Ireland, Dr. Garrett Fitzgerald, said tonight, there appears to be increasing evidence of more understanding among the Protestant working class in Northern Ireland of the problems and needs of the Catholic working class, and this could be a hopeful sign toward halting the bitterness and the violence in the North. Fitzgerald also appealed to Americans of Irish descent not to contribute to the outlawed IRA and other militant groups, whom the Irish official blamed for prolonging the strife in Northern Ireland. Questioned about possible unification of the North and the South, the Foreign Minister had this comment.
We believe there can be no reunification and should be no reunification of Ireland without the consent of a majority in Northern Ireland, that it is neither possible nor would it be right to attempt to coerce Northern Ireland into a union with the Republic. Consequently, logically, deriving from that, we believe that we have to seek peace and justice within Northern Ireland through the establishment of a power-sharing government in which both communities will have their part, thus ending forever the exploitation of the Catholic minority by the Protestant majority, which was a feature of the first half-century of the existence of Northern Ireland. And we believe that any solution must also involve a relationship between North and South, which will reflect the reality of the very close practical links there are between the two parts.
The Senate has refused to order a final vote on a bill giving the consumer an official voice in the federal government, but sponsors in a turnabout said later a 5th attempt may be made to shut off a 2-month filibuster that's blocked final consideration of the bill, creating an independent consumer protection commission. The attempt could come next week. Senate and House conferees on campaign finance legislation have bogged down over the question of using public funds for congressional elections because of that the conferees broke off negotiations for at least 10 days. The delay could prevent final action by Congress on campaign financing legislation until after the November elections. The new chairman of President Ford's Council of Economic Advisers made an unpopular suggestion at a government-sponsored mini-summit in Washington on inflation. Alan Greenspan was asked by trade unionists in the audience if the Ford administration wasn't making the poor suffer a bit more to make life easier for manufacturers and the upper-income people. Greenspan replied, the people hurt most by inflation are the Wall Street brokers. He added, their incomes have gone down the most. Many of the 180 delegates of the meeting jumped to their feet, giving out with catcalls, boos, jeers, and hisses. The WOR News Time, 5 minutes past 8. Coming up, the Financial Review and more late news.
This is Mary Helen McPhillips. I'd like to invite you to join me tomorrow morning at 10:15. My guest will be Werner Klemperer. Remember Colonel Klink of Hogan's Heroes fame? Well, Werner Klemperer is a charming man. I think you'll enjoy him. Tomorrow morning at 10:15.
The white police officer who shot and killed a 14-year-old black youth last Sunday has been stripped of his guns. Police Commissioner Michael Codd says the action was taken following a lengthy meeting in City Hall between Mayor Beam, top city officials, and a group of residents of Brownsville where Claude Reese died. A mistrial has been declared in the federal court trial of New Jersey State Treasurer Joseph McCrane. The former treasurer is charged with violations of the campaign laws for allegedly helping businesses make donations look like tax-deductible expenses. The mistrial interrupted the proceedings in their second week. It was declared after a juror revealed that he and 5 other panelists had seen a newspaper article about the case. During the last few weeks he was in office, former President Nixon nominated Governor Thomas Meskill of Connecticut to serve on the federal bench. But that nomination has been under fire for weeks, and Meskill faces an uncertain future. WOR's Dan Riley reports.
Connecticut Governor Thomas Meskill says he's encouraged that he will be confirmed as a second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals judge. The governor said in his words, "I have great faith in Senate Judiciary Chairman James Eastland, who Meskill said is most encouraging." The lame duck chief executive remained uncommitted on whether he'll finish out his full term as governor.
A lot has to do with the situation in the state at the time, my personal situation. I had to move my family. A lot will have to do with the needs of the court at the time as to whether or not there's any particular emergency that requires my sitting immediately. I think there are many factors that will all have to be weighed. I think the first thing that has to happen is to have a resolution of the confirmation itself.
Democratic Senator John Tunney of California, a member of the Judiciary Committee, today joined the American Bar Association in denouncing Meskill's nomination. In Hartford, Dan Riley reporting, WOR News.
2 reputed gamblers were found shot to death in gangland style today in widely separated sections of New York City. Police are trying to determine if they were victims of an intermittent mob war, which has been underway for some months. One of the 2, Alfred Gallo, was found in the rear seat of a car parked in the Sheepshead Bay section of Brooklyn. He'd been shot in the back of the head. Police said Gallo was not related to the gang currently headed by Albert Kid Blast Gallo, the last survivor of the Underworld Gallo family. The remnants of the Gallo group have been warring with the Underworld family of Joseph Colombo. The second shooting victim was 38-year-old Frank Carter of the Bronx. He, too, was shot in the head. His body was discovered slumped behind the wheel of his Cadillac on the grounds of an amusement park in Flushing, Queens. Police say both men had records including offenses other than gambling. Draft dodger Dan Kraptik has surrendered in New York under President Ford's clemency program. The 25-year-old Kraptik said he did it as a birthday present to my kids. He's been working as a part-time driver for a private car service. Kraptik said, maybe without this hammer hanging over my head, I'll be able to get a better job and give them a better life. He reported to authorities today, which was his 3-year-old son's birthday. Well, the weather and the top of the news after this. Provident, member FDIC. The Weather Watch update, partly cloudy and hazy tonight with the low in the low 60s. Partly sunny and mild tomorrow, the high in the low 80s. Chance of showers tomorrow night. The low around 60. On Saturday, partly sunny, the high in the mid-70s. Right now in clear mid-Manhattan, 72 degrees, the humidity 69%, the wind south at 8 miles an hour, and the barometer steady at 30.19 inches. And the top stories. The British Research Institute reports the Soviet Union has a long lead over the United States in the number of long-range nuclear missiles. Senator John Stennis tells the Senate the Soviet Navy does not match the capability of the U.S. Navy. Former President Nixon has been subpoenaed to testify in the Watergate cover-up trial, while his lawyers fight 2 subpoenas stemming from civil cases.
Tune for Mystery Theater.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. The line between fact and fancy is often a very thin one. The border that separates illusion is very narrow, just as the distance from sanity to madness and back again to sanity can be a very short one. And do we always know where the real world leaves off and the dream begins?
Sometime the spirit of a man die before he die. When his soul, his spirit, die before the rest of him, then the god Marco is especially sad. When that happen, melody of the drum is especially sad too, like now. Listen to the song of attention. Death has walked among my people. It is why this island is called the Island of Dead Lost.
Our mystery drama, Island of the Lost, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Arnold Moss and stars Norman Rose. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Budweiser, and Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
Ever had a tall, frosty glass of Amplitude? Well, if your beer is Budweiser, you've had it often. Amplitude is a fancy word for the total experience of flavor. Next time you take a healthy swallow of Bud, watch what happens. Think about the sensations you're experiencing. Notice how the flavor of Bud comes on nice and easy. Not too strong, not too quick, just right. Notice the clean, crisp togetherness of Bud's taste. Everything in perfect balance, with no single element jumping out at you. And there'll be no aftertaste either, no hanging on. And you'll be refreshed and ready for another glassful. Actually, Bud drinkers have been experiencing Amplitude for years, but they just say Budweiser, and that says it all. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
At Suburban Savings in northern New Jersey, you're always the tops. So to help you reach the top, Suburban is offering you a top 7.90% effective annual yield on their 7.50% savings certificates. And Suburban guarantees it from 4 to 10 years. Just a $2,500 minimum is all you need to get your savings straight to the top. Federal regulations allow premature withdrawals on savings certificates, provided prescribed federal penalties are adhered to. Of course, Suburban also has other ways to top off your day with a wide selection of other savings plans to choose from. Your savings will always come out on top because we offer you the highest interest rates allowed by law. Suburban Savings Office, conveniently located in Bayonne, Edgewater, Elmwood Park, Emerson, Hackettstown, Morris Plains, Nutley, Paramus, Sparta, and choose the right savings plan for you. Dreams have breath and tears and tortures and the touch of joy. They leave a weight upon our waking thoughts. They take a weight from off our waking troubles. They can divide our being. They can become for us the heralds of eternity. For Tony Bridges, it began in the office of his eye doctor.
Tilt your head back just a trifle more, Tony. So, very good. Now hold still, please.
You know, every time you put that head mirror on to examine my eyes...
And no talking, my friend.
Oh, you're the doctor.
One moment more. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, finished. You were saying, Tony?
Oh, nothing important. It's only that every time you examine my eyes and put that big mirror on around your head with the hole in the middle, it always makes me think of one of those science fiction movies with, Boris Karloff. Well, what's the verdict here, Dr. Werner?
Doctor, we'll prescribe a stronger prescription for your eyeglass.
The prescription I'm wearing strong enough?
Not quite, Tony. At your age, shall we say past 39?
Past 39? What about for a man who's just past 59?
A little stronger still.
Fritz, if they'll help cut down on these headaches, it'll certainly be worth the trouble.
Yeah, the new glasses may help.
May?
We can never be sure about these things. We must always hope. You know something, Tony?
What?
Sometimes I think your headaches could be, how do you say, by something not altogether physical.
Oh, come on, Fritz. What's that supposed to mean?
How old is your wife?
Now, you know perfectly well how old Martha is.
30.
Almost on the nose. But what's Martha's age got to do with...
She's half your age. Charming, intelligent, beautiful. Black hair, green eyes, the figure of a goddess. the face of an angel.
Yes, one of the most gorgeous young women you've ever seen, right?
Exactly. Could it not be possible that there is a certain tenseness in your relationship with this beautiful young wife?
That causes the headaches? Oh, no, Fritz, I don't think so.
I've seen you both at a dinner party. How you react whenever a younger man seems to be paying the slightest attention to her. Martha loves you. Loves you deeply. You have no cause in the world to be jealous of her. I promise you. So relax. Enjoy her. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life.
Fritz, what you're prescribing is what I have in mind.
That's good.
You know that Martha left a week ago for that vacation we've been talking about. A little hidden-away island in the Caribbean. Well, I am joining her.
You're joining her? That's perfectly wonderful.
Yes, it's going to be like a surprise. She's not expecting me for another few days.
You shouldn't do that, Tony.
Well, who says so?
Why do you surprise her? Can't you wire her or phone?
Well, no way. There's no direct phone to the island. And by the time a wire got there...
What about the new glasses?
Well, I've lived this long with the old ones. I can live a few more days with them. Here's the address of the island. It's the Hotel Paraiso. Send them Air Express. They should be there in 2 or 3 days.
Whatever you say, Tony.
Auf Wiedersehen, Fritz. And thanks for the advice.
Not at all.
And don't forget the glasses.
Of course not.
See you in about 10 days.
Miss Elliot, please take this letter to Mrs. Martha Bridges, Hotel Paraiso, Isla de los Perdidos. I'll give you the exact address later. Send it airmail, special delivery. Mark it urgent. Ready? Dearest Martha, when you get this letter, Tony will already have surprised you. I did my best to think of a way to keep him from coming without arousing any suspicions. No luck. Under the present circumstances, it would be best for you to take every possible precaution. You cannot be too careful, dear Martha.
At 1 o'clock the following morning, I was in the lobby of the Hotel Paraiso on the little island of Los Perdidos, the island of the lost. Behind the desk, his feet on the desk, was a bald, fat little man, fast asleep. Excuse me. Maybe this will work.
Please forgive me, senor.
It's all right.
I was just taking a few winks of sleep.
It's my fault. It is a little late, 1 in the morning, your time.
Oh, the hour is of no importance, senor. Welcome to the Hotel Paraiso. I am at your service.
My wife arrived last Tuesday, and she doesn't...
Of course, senor. Pablo understands. Your wife arrived last Tuesday.
Yes, and you're Pablo.
Always at your orders, senor. Your lady, this good senora, is expecting you. You will find her in Bungalow B. It is our very best.
Expecting? She doesn't even know that...
You must not keep her waiting, eh, senor?
But this is a surprise. She doesn't even know that I'm coming. Are you sure, Pablo?
Oh, I am sure, senor.
You didn't even ask me my name.
I know, senor, eh? You follow me now to Bungalow B, see? This is our Bungalow B. Enter, senor.
Yes, you can put my bag over there near the coffee table.
Now, this naturally is the living room. The bedroom is through that door.
Just a moment. I want to see. Now, we must be quiet. It's dark, but... Yes, that's Martha all right in there. And she's in bed, sound asleep.
Well, you yourself have said, senor, it is a little late.
But I just can't understand it.
Don't try, senor. Meantime, try to make yourself comfortable. Admire, if you will, the beauty of this bungalow.
Yes, it's very nice.
As you can see, all the furniture is what you call rattan. All beautifully handmade by the artistic makers of furniture of the island. And please do notice the draperies, senor.
Yes, they're very pretty.
fishing nets woven by the fishermen of the island and made into most unique, decorated hangings.
But how could she have been expecting me? I wasn't supposed
And in the morning, senor, when you awaken, you will see a view from the bedroom window as you have never seen before in all your life.
Are you sure that she...
Oh, I am quite sure. Bungalow B is situated on a most high cliff looking down 2,000 feet into our beautiful sea and the rocks below.
Yes, of course. I look forward to seeing it.
In the morning, senor. And now, senor, pleasant dreams. Come till tomorrow.
What was he talking about? Martha couldn't possibly have been expecting me. Not for another 3 days. Oh, well, it'll all get clear up in the morning. Oh, I better get undressed, get a little sleep. And my little gift for Martha. My anniversary present. Beautiful string of pearls. Perfectly matched. Oh, wonderful luster. Well, they'll keep till morning. I'll put them around her beautiful neck as I wake her. Oh, Lord, I'm tired. Well, lights out, Tony. I feel as if I hadn't slept in... No, not again. Not here, of all places. Oh, that pain is coming again. It's spreading down the whole side of my face. It's hard to breathe.
It is me, my darling. Alberto. I'm sorry to be late. Oh, I beg your pardon.
What are you doing here?
I apologize, sir. A frightful mistake. I thought this was Bungalow B.
This is Bungalow B, young man, and I'm afraid that you've made a very great mistake.
If this is Bungalow B, I have made no mistake.
Who do you think you're looking for?
I cannot see, senor, but this can not be any of your business.
Shh, please, keep your voice down. My wife is in there asleep.
Your wife? This is beginning to be most amusing. That beautiful young woman is the wife of an old rooster like you? This is very funny. Your wife?
Now listen, you better leave. You've come to the wrong place.
Perhaps it is you who have made the mistake. The American girl told me that...
Get out of here fast before I kill you.
So, the old man has a gun, too.
Yes, and it is loaded. Out.
As you say, senor. She is all yours, old man. Good night and good luck.
As the door slammed shut, something exploded inside me. I knew that these last few months of doubt, fear, suspicion about Martha were based on something more than fantasy. This young man was evidence of it, clear and tangible proof. I hadn't been expected for a few days, and Pablo had mistaken me for this young man. My brain began to pound like a trip hammer. I no longer trusted myself to be in the same room with Martha if I stayed. At that moment, I looked down at my hands. The string of pearls was still in them. I tore them apart furiously and watched as they rolled to the floor. All night long, I wandered as though drugged up and down the long miles of beach, ghostly white in the moonlight. In the morning, weary and numb, I found my way back to the lobby of the hotel.
Tony! Darling! No, it can't be. When did you get here?
Last night's plane, connecting boats.
Oh, darling, why didn't you let me know you were coming?
Well, I had a crazy idea, Martha. I wanted to surprise
Well,
you.
you certainly have. Why didn't you come to the bungalow?
Oh, I did, Martha.
Oh, Tony, I would have heard you.
I came in very quietly.
Is anything wrong? Are you all right, sweetheart?
Oh, yes, I'm just dandy.
Well, where did you sleep last night?
I didn't. I walked along the beach after I left the bungalow.
Oh, why should you have done a silly thing
Martha, what have you been up to since you got here?
Oh, Tony, dear. Now, stop it. I won't be cross-examined. You know very well.
Who was that young man, Martha?
What are you talking about? What young man?
The young man who came calling on you in the middle of the night. He said he had an appointment appointment.
I haven't the remotest idea what you're talking about.
I'm leaving on the next boat. It goes at 4 o'clock.
Tony, could we go over to the bungalow, please? We can't talk here in the lobby.
All right. Whatever you like, Martha.
Where'd I put the key? Oh, here it is.
Martha?
What is it? What's wrong?
Martha, you've made a mistake.
Mistake?
The furniture. It's all different from what it was last night.
I don't understand you, Tony.
The draperies, they were made of fish netting. These are, what do you call them, matchstick bamboo. Martha, what's the letter on this bungalow?
It's Bungalow B, of course.
This isn't the bungalow where you slept last night?
Of course it is.
Now, let's take a look at the bedroom. Oh, no. No, it can't be. You were sleeping in a double-sized bed, king size, in fact, and this room has 2 twin beds. Oh, wait, I know the view. Pablo said that the view from this bedroom window was something that
What is wrong, Tony?
Well, he said that there was a beautiful view of the sea and the rocks below the cliff and palm trees. Martha, what do you see out of this window?
Nothing but the side wall of the bungalow next to us.
Then where is the beautiful view? Unless, for some reason, Pablo lied to me.
When the tree that has stood in the forest for 1,000 years topples and falls crashing to the ground, is there a sound if there are no ears to hear it? Do the brilliant colors of the rainbow exist for someone who has never had the blessed gift of eyes and eyesight? These are questions for which there are no easy answers. Just what similarly disturbing questions are there for Tony Bridges? Questions to which he has not yet found the answer. We'll find out shortly when I return with Act 2.
Excuse me, sir, but do you know what happens this time of year?
Right on, pal. I happen to know that right about now a freak blizzard falls on Dumont, New Jersey, and they're snowed in for the rest of the summer. Happens every year.
Nope. You see, what happens this time of year is that you can get a particularly good deal on what is perhaps the most luxurious mid-sized car on the market, the mid-sized Buick Century Regal.
Well, what good's a car when you're hopelessly snowed in?
Well, that's a point.
Hey, Mom, what's for dinner? Hey, Mom, what you got?
Here's this week's dinner winners from your ShopRite supermarket. Fresh American whole leg of lamb, just 97 cents a pound. Shoulder lamb chops, $1.27 a pound. First cut beef chuck steaks, 59 a pound. Semi-boneless beef chuck roast, 99 cents a pound. Fresh pork spare ribs, 89 cents a pound. Fresh honeydew melons, just 69 cents each. Lots of variety for your menus and savings, too. Get a lot more for a little less throughout your ShopRite store.
She loves her family. She wants the best. She does all that she can do. She lets ShopRite do the rest. Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? ShopRite has the answer.
This is WOR New York, your Mystery Theater station.
Worthy events for Tony Bridges of the night just past, the tree falling in the forest unheard, or colors never seen. What was the logical explanation? For Tony, what had happened was all a little strange and curious.
Martha and I talked all morning. She finally convinced me that everything that had happened last night was, in fact, a series of reasonable coincidences that spelled out mistake. For the first time in months, I felt as close to Martha as I ever had, and I knew she felt the same way about me. We went for a walk into the mountains that rose behind the hotel. On the way back, just as we were nearly at the bungalow, Martha lost her footing, turned her ankle badly. I carried her into the bedroom. She rested while I unpacked and ordered dinner in our rooms.
So, with your permission, senor, a beautiful dinner has been prepared for you and the senora. Look here, this fish, was swimming happily in the sea only half an hour ago. And 1 hour ago, these beautiful vegetables were growing proudly in our own garden.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Pablo. It all looks beautiful indeed.
So I place the dinner here on the table.
Thank you.
And, Senora, I hope you do not suffer too much pain.
No, it only hurts if I try to move it or put weight on it.
You just stay where you are for a day or two, and it'll be fine, I'm sure.
It is essential that one exercise care when walking in our beautiful mountains. From the time when there were earthquakes here, there are some cracks where one can trip and twist an ankle.
Oh, really? This is earthquake country. I didn't know that.
Senor, was. Not in any more than 40 years. Now, there. Your dinner is served. I leave you to the enjoyment of it. Buenas noches to you both. Senor, senora.
Well, let me get these few things away in the closet, and then we'll have our so beautiful dinner. Do you have the key, dear?
What key?
To this second closet. It's locked.
Oh, I forgot. There isn't any key. Pablo said the last guest took it with him. There's no master key, so he's ordered a duplicate from the mainland.
Oh, well, I'll put my stuff in your closet then, all right?
The key should be here by tomorrow or the next day.
Oh, that's great. And now, if the senora will permit, that she be carried from her bed to this most appetizing dinner.
The senor has the senora's permission.
Up we go.
Oh.
There we are. Comfortable.
Yes. Couldn't be happier. Except for this stupid ankle.
Buen appetito, my darling. To us.
To us.
In the middle of the night, I was wakened by the most curious sensation. My bed was being shaken violently. All around me, I had the feeling that the furniture, the pictures on the wall, were vibrating in some strange way. The whole bungalow was quivering. Martha, are you all right? Martha, are you awake? Oh, where's that light? Oh, there. Martha. Her bed was empty. Martha, where are you? Where could she be? Then I suddenly remembered her ankle. How could she have left her bed? Where could she have gone? What had Pablo said about this once having been earthquake country? Of course, that's what was happening.
At your service, Senor Reyes.
We're in the middle of an earthquake, aren't we?
Earthquake? There is no earthquake, Senor.
But of course there is. What are we supposed to do?
Senor?
Oh, look, will you stop beating about the bush? Just tell me that it's nothing serious or that it'll pass without damage, but don't tell me that it's nothing.
Would you please to tell me why the senor thinks there is an earthquake?
The pictures, my bed, the lamp, the whole room is shaking and jumping around, and that noise, that rumbling noise.
The senora, your wife, she is experiencing the same thing, senor?
Well, that's just it. It's really why I called. My wife is not here.
Oh, I am so sorry to hear she is not there.
Have you seen her?
I regret, Senor. I have not.
But where could she have gone? She can't walk.
Of this, I have no knowledge, Senor.
No, wait a minute. Wait just a moment. The sound seems to have stopped, and nothing's shaking anymore. Is it all over?
I think perhaps I can explain. The strenuous climb you have made this afternoon in the mountains, the kindness of the altitude and the thinness of the air, you are not used to it. It happens to many of our guests.
What happens?
It is a kind of a spasm of the muscles, Senor, from the altitude. I'm so happy it has passed.
But my wife, where is my wife?
Of that, Senor, as I have already said, I regretfully have not the slightest idea. You sleep well, Senor.
In spite of my concern about Martha, I fell asleep immediately. A long and merciful sleep. When I awoke, it was broad daylight. The sun was streaming in through the windows, and everything was exactly as it had been in the middle of the night, except For one thing, lying in the next bed, reading calmly, was Martha.
Good morning, sweetheart. Did you have a good night? I slept like a rock.
Where were you last night?
Tony, let go of my arm. You're hurting.
Where were you? Where did you go?
What are you talking about?
Where were you?
Let go. Get your hands away from my throat. I can't breathe.
In the middle of the night, you left this bedroom. Now, where did you go?
Are you out of your mind? Take a look at this ankle of mine. It's purple and blue. It's twice the size it was last night. I can't walk on it except with the greatest pain. You asked me where I was last night, I was here. Right here, in this bed, every minute of the night.
A couple of days passed. They were blessedly peaceful, uneventful, golden. 2 days before our vacation was to end, Martha's ankle was strong enough for her to venture out on another little walk into the hills that ran along the edge of the cliff that overlooked the sea below.
Oh, this cane's a great help. I really don't have to put my full weight on the ankle.
Just watch your step. Avoid any of those cracks that Pablo pointed out.
Oh, look, darling, there's a clearing up ahead. We could rest for a bit when we get up there. Oh, listen to those birds.
Yes, the whole thing is like a Garden of Eden.
You know, Pablo said if we follow this path, we'll discover thousands and thousands of wild orchids. Oh, we should have come here long ago. It's so much more fun than going to those silly luncheons.
For the first time in months, I began to feel sure of myself. Sure of Martha. In spite of all my fears, I knew she loved me. I had no reason for being jealous of her.
Everything is so much more fun.
Not a single reason. As she spoke, I began to hear a strange sound, like the flapping of 1,000 wings, coming nearer and nearer.
Tony, look! The sky is black with them.
Birds. Huge birds. Martha, what are they? They're all pink and red.
I think they're flamingos. I've never seen so many birds in my life. They're coming closer and closer. Oh, Tony, you're frightened. What should we do?
I don't know. Martha, use your cane. If they come close, use it like a baseball bat. Here's a branch from the tree. I'll do the same.
Look out, Tony. Here they come.
Look, there's one. Oh, that big one. Oh, that big one just knocked off my glasses. I can't see.
Don't think I can fight them. There's too many of them.
Keep at it, darling. Sooner or later. Oh. Martha? What happened? Where did they go?
They?
The flamingos. The birds. They disappeared as suddenly as they came. Are you all right?
I'm fine.
I can't imagine. Oh, I need a cigarette.
You take one of mine. They're in my bag.
I can't see very well. I lost my glasses when those birds...
The bag. It's right near your feet.
Oh, yes. Yes, I've got it. Oh, there's so much junk in your bag. What's that?
What is it?
Listen. You hear it? What do you suppose it is? Martha, you do hear it, don't you?
I think so.
In the distance, those drums beating.
Oh, of course. Of course I hear them, dear.
Oh, thank heavens. I thought for a moment. Where do you suppose they come from? Who's playing them?
But I haven't the slightest idea.
That's funny. Now for that cigarette. Down we go into the bottom of your bag and... Martha. Martha, what's this?
That's the key to the closets in the bungalow.
To your closet?
To my closet and your closet. It's to both closets.
Both? When did it get here?
It's always been here. Why?
When I asked you about it the other night, you said there was no key to my closet. Somebody had taken it away and they were making a new one.
I said that?
Of course you did. Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. It's all starting to make sense. That anyone could be so evil. That anyone could so despise another human being that she'd stop at nothing. Stoop to anything to get him out of the way.
You don't know what you're saying. I love you, Tony. You must believe me.
Anything at all. Even to the point of trying to drive a man out of his mind.
It's not true.
All these strange things that have been happening. Oh, they were no coincidences. They were all part of some twisted, devilish scheme you worked out to get rid of me by driving me mad.
Careful, Tony. You're backing me so close to the edge of the cliff.
The mix-up with the bungalows. Oh, that was a good one. How did you work that? And the business of your ankle and disappearing in the middle of the night. That was worthy of a master.
Stop it, Tony!
And the birds, huh? And now this key. Oh, you missed your calling, Martha. You should get an act together. Martha, the mysterious magician. She mystifies. She confuses. The hand is quicker than the eye. She cheats. She lies. But it's all part of the act, isn't it, Martha? Isn't it?
Careful, Tony. I'm losing my balance. Tony,
Long trip, Martha. 2,000 feet. And those sharp rocks down there can't be very comfortable, can they? The act is over, Martha. Curtain, Martha.
Jealousy is said to be the child of love. But if the parent does not do his best to strangle the child will not rest till it has poisoned its own father, which may well be the case with Tony Bridges. To what further extremes will the deadly venom of his jealousy drive Tony? He may or may not know the answer, but we shall when we return shortly with Act 3.
Give your hand to a friend. Give your heart to your love. But give your cold to contact. The sooner the better.
The common cold is a rotten thing. You miss so much. Sneezing, drips, and congestion can drag you down. Then ask yourself the contact question. 6 or 3 or 1. You'd need 6 cold tablets, 2 every 4 hours, or 3 ounces of Cold's liquid, 1 every 4 hours, or just 1 contact for up to 12 hours continuous relief of those symptoms. That's daytime, then nighttime relief. Both the others have things for aches and fever, and the liquid, something for coughs. Not found in Contact 600 Tiny Type pills.
Give your cold to contact.
6 or 3 or 1. Take Contact. Only as directed.
Most appetizers you eat, but there's one appetizer you drink. Dubonnet.
Before that's the time to think about some Dubonnet to drink. Before a meal by day or night, it helps to whet your appetite. Before. It's the time before for Dubonnet.
Think of Dubonnet as an appetizer. It's the wine you drink before meals, before lunch, before dinner at cocktail time, before whatever you've got cooking. It helps to whet your appetite. Whether you serve it straight, on the rocks, with a twist, or soda. Dubonnet before makes what comes after that much better. Dubonnet. It all started in France, of course.
Before. The time before for Dubonnet.
A product of USA, Dubonnet Company, New York, New York.
A glorious feeling of exhilaration flowed through Tony. His head was as light as if he'd drunk too much champagne. For the first time in years, he no longer had a heavy millstone around his neck. The torment of having a beautiful young woman for a wife. Tony Bridges' only concern now was to find some way to get off the island before Martha's body was discovered.
The same drums I'd heard just before Martha. I started walking slowly, deliberately, in the direction from which they seemed to come. Without my glasses, I could just barely see where I was going. I tore my way through a tangle of creeping vines and found myself in some sort of a clearing. I almost stumbled over something seated before a small fire. It was an ancient little man of the island, his face like so much black parchment, his clothes in rags. He sat there, hunched over the smoky fire, blinking his eyes and mumbling. I beg your pardon.
It is all my fault. I should not sit in the middle of the path. but it is good place to meditate.
Who are you? What's your name, old man?
Is long forgotten, my name, even by me.
What are you doing here?
Sitting, listening, thinking.
Listening?
To the sad and mournful song of my people.
Oh, you mean those drums? You hear them too?
Alas, I hear them too well. I hear them.
What are they for? Where does the sound come from?
Our island is small. They come from everywhere. They are heard everywhere.
But why? Why? What do they mean?
This what you hear is lamentation. Death has walked among my people, among the lost one. It is why this place is called Isla de los Perdidos, Island of the Lost.
Someone has died?
Someone has passed on to Mako.
Who is Mako?
The great father of all things in the sea, from where we all have come to where we all shall go.
I see.
This is reason for the wailing of the drums. They beat out their farewell to the soul of a man who is making the journey to Mako.
The soul of a man or a woman?
Man. Always man, not woman. For woman, drums play another song, not this one.
I understand. I'm very sorry for the poor man who has gone on to Mako. When did he die?
No one can be sure. Perhaps he is not yet dead.
Well, then why...
The drums often sing with the promise of things to come, to some soon. Sometime the spirit of a man will die. Before he does, then Mako is especially sad because he is made to wait. When that happened, the melody of the drums is especially sad too. Like now.
I left my ancient friend as quickly as possible. Made my way back to the hotel. I couldn't stop thinking of all the confusing things that had happened since I arrived on this cursed island. The mix-up with the bungalows, the visitor that first night, the missing closet key, what I had thought was an earthquake, Martha's apparent disappearance in the middle of the night in spite of her bad ankle, the attack by the flamingos, and finally, my realization that Martha, in some way, has made all these things happen to drive me out of my mind. Well, hold on there. Has made things happen. Made things happen. Martha is dead. Her body at this very moment is being battered against the sharp rocks by the angry waters of that beautiful blue sea.
Senor Bridges, I have been looking for you all over.
What do you want?
Most especially, I have been looking for the senora, your wife.
What is it?
For you, senor, this small package has arrived by this morning's boat.
Thank you, Pablo.
And for the senora, this letter. Handmade, very special delivery. He's marked most
Yes, I'll take it.
You will be sure, senor, it reaches the hands of the senora. Is also marked very personal.
Don't worry.
Thank you, senor.
I walked over to Bungalow B. Once inside, I collapsed into the big chair, feeling as though my lifeblood had been drained from me. I opened the package addressed to me. Good old Fritz. My glasses. I put them on, and things came into focus once again. Then I tore open the letter addressed to Martha. Very especial delivery, most urgent, very personal. As I read, my hands began to shake, my head to ache.
Dearest Martha, when you get this letter, Tony will already have surprised you. I did my best to think of a way to keep him from coming without arousing any suspicions. No luck. Under the present circumstances, it would be best for you to take every possible precaution. You cannot be too careful language, of deterioration of the brain tissues. The symptoms point clearly to a situation where Tony's sanity hangs by a very thin thread. At any given moment, that thread may snap. If it does, the first manifestations will be an attack of dizziness, accompanied by a buzzing in the ears and a
blurring of the vision. There are also indications of things that follow the classic pattern, that there will be a series of hallucinations. Hallucinations. He will think he sees and hears things he actually does not see or hear. He will think he has done things he has not actually done. Hallucinations. Then none of these things ever really happened. And Martha's alive. She's alive. Like everything else, I imagined that, too. I imagined that I killed her.
Si, pronto?
Pablo, have you seen the senora?
Un momentito, por favor. I have not seen your wife since she left with you, senor.
You don't understand, Pablo. Everything is...
Will you please to have a seat for one small moment, Senor Bridges, until I complete this telephone call? Your pardon. Si, Jefe.
You see, Pablo, I'm not exactly well, and I had the foolish idea that Martha, my wife, had fallen over that I had pushed her and that she... You understand?
Diga usted que... Ah, no, it's incredible. ¿Está seguro?
I thought she might be, but now I know that too was what we call a hallucination, something that you think
Se cayó en las rocas, a pie de la cuevadra. Oh, lloro de gar. Gracias, jefe. Hasta pronto.
And what was that all about, Pablo?
I regretfully must inform you, senor, of some very bad news.
What is it, Pablo?
At the foot of the cliff, senor, just below the hotel, 2 fishermen have just discovered the body of the senora, your wife. The police will soon be here. Are you all right, Senor Benitez?
Oh, yes, I'm fine, Pablo. Did I hear you speaking on the phone a moment ago?
The phone? Ah, si, senor. It was the contractor for the building of the annex to this hotel.
And you didn't tell me something about 2 fishermen, what they found at the bottom of the cliff?
Not one word, senor, about any fishermen.
You said nothing about my wife?
What, no, senor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Pablo. I'll be in the bungalow. Was that phone conversation and what Pablo had told me about Martha's body being found at the foot of the cliff, was that, too, a hallucination? Along with my backing her off the cliff? What was real? What was imagined? Was she alive? I rushed back into the bungalow. I knew Martha would be there. Dear, sweet, wonderful, beautiful Martha. Martha? Martha, sweetheart, where are you, Martha? The bedroom? The bathroom? Oh, where on earth could she be? Yes.
Excuse me, senor, but you have 2 visitors. I will accompany them to the bungalow. We will be there in a moment.
She couldn't possibly have gone to... No, what's this? What have I got in my hand? Where did it come from? The key to my closet. I had it when I asked Martha for a cigarette, and she told me that... and it's been here in my hand all that time. Strange. I must open the closet now. I do have the key, and that's what keys are for. To open things. Isn't that right, Tony?
You must excuse us, senor. These are the police of the island.
No, not just this minute, please. Not till I open the door to the closet.
We can tell you. The maid, when she cleaned this morning, found the door to the closet open.
So? No, it isn't for real. I'm only imagining this. It's my imagination, gentlemen. It's my imagination.
See, Senor Jefe, here in this closet, that is the body of his wife. Is strangled with this string of precious pearls.
The poet Longfellow wrote, "The moon, from some dark gate of cloud, throws o'er the sea a floating bridge of light, across whose trembling planks our fancies crowd into the realm of mystery and night." So Tony Bridges, as he stands staring into the sea, watching the floating bridge of light cast by a full Caribbean moon, Tony knows at last the difference between the real and the imaginary. Or does he? I'll be back shortly.
Pardon me, miss. Can you tell me what happens this time of year?
Rhubarb reaches its peak.
Nope.
Muskmelon reaches its peak?
No.
Oh, well, does it in any way involve something reaching its peak?
No, not really.
Oh.
What happens this time of year is that you can get a really outstanding deal on Buick's small but surprisingly elegant Apollo. And with what's happening to prices, you may never have a better chance to buy a Buick.
Hey, I know what happens.
Yeah?
The buzzards come back to Hinkley Ridge, Ohio.
Oh. I hadn't thought of that.
We trust you've enjoyed our little exercise in Now You See It, Now You Don't. Or to put it another way, a string of precious pearls should never be used for anything other than show. But that's something everybody knows, isn't it? Our cast included Norman Rose, Marion Seldes, Bob Caliban, and Ian Martin. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. There is more than the fear of the supernatural, the unknown. There is the terror that stalks the streets of our cities, and the nightmare of sudden accident that can erode a man's soul and destroy faith and hope. This story begins in an old limestone house, once an extravagant mansion, now a walk-up apartment building. And we start at the top, in the tiny two-room flat occupied by an elderly single lady as she opens the door after the long climb. Our mystery drama, The Deadly Blind Man's Bluff, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Mason Adams and Augusta Dabney. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
Say, do you know what happens this time of year?
The swallows come back to Capistrano.
Nope.
The buzzards come back to Hinkley Ridge, Ohio.
No.
Bulldogs all over the world begin to shed.
Not even close.
Oh.
This, my friend, is the time of year when you can get a super little deal on the practical but elegant Buick Apollo. And just between you and me, it may very well be the best chance you'll ever have to buy a Buick.
I could have sworn this was Buzzard Day in Hinkley.
Hinkley.
Most appetizers you eat, but there's one appetizer you drink. Dubonnet.
Before that's the time to think about some Dubonnet to drink. Before a meal by day or night, it helps to whet your appetite. Before, It's the time before for Dubonnet.
Think of Dubonnet as an appetizer. It's the wine you drink before meals, before lunch, before dinner at cocktail time, before whatever you've got cooking. It helps to whet your appetite, whether you serve it straight, on the rocks, with a twist, or soda. Dubonnet before makes what comes after that much better. Dubonnet. It all started in France, of course.
Before, yeah, before. The time before for Dubonnet.
A product of USA, Dubonnet Company, New York, New York.
Hi, Dave Herman here, reminding you that my analysis of this Sunday afternoon's football game, the Jets against the Buffalo Bills, is brought to you in part by your local Chevron dealer. Broadcast time is at 12:35 over WOR Radio.
Not so long ago, 821 Green Street was a good place to live. From the landlord who lived in the basement to Mrs. Schofield, the elderly lady who lived on the top floor in the single tiny apartment with a flower terrace outside. Certainly nobody was happier to move into the building than Fran and Dave Miller. How could they have even guessed that in it Dave would lose himself as a man, or that a savage, reckless, vicious killer would be the magic key to him finding himself again?
It's quite a climb, 3 flights. Only one person lives higher. Mrs. Schofield. Quiet as a mouse. She won't ever bother you. Here we are.
How clean and well kept up everything is, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, somebody takes a lot of pride in the work put into this.
Mm-hmm. My grandfather had this house built for him. 1894. People took a power of pride in what they worked at then. Can't find anyone who wants to work with his hands these days.
Oh, yes, you can. My Dave. And nobody takes more pride in what he does.
What's your profession, Mr. Miller?
I'm a jackhammer man, Mr. Stone, a riveter.
Yes, he works on all the big ones. Why, he doesn't care how high he goes.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought it up because there is one drawback to the apartment I feel that I've got to tell you.
You mean the big apartment job they're breaking ground for at the corner?
Yes. There's going to be an awful lot of noise for a while.
Well, that's no drawback for us because we're both out working all day.
As a matter of fact, I may be even working on that building, so I'm the one who'd be apologizing to you.
Well, I'm glad that's out of the way. Now, let's have a look at the apartment and see what you think, eh?
Got that feeling, Dave. It's going to be lucky for us. Oh, my. Oh! Well, if the rest is as good as this, we're home, Dave.
Morning, Mrs. Schofield. Not off babysitting with your grandson today?
Oh, Sergeant Hennessy. Now, how would you know today's my day?
Because 'tis Friday, and your habits are as regular as clockwork.
The sergeant knows the habits of everyone in the precinct.
It's what I get for being a beat cop the most of my life and sticking to it.
Well, don't think we're all not grateful, Mr. Rivera. It's why we all think this is the safest neighborhood in the city. But my son and his family are off on vacation for 2 weeks.
I'm surprised you didn't go along.
Oh, too far. Besides, my plants need me. Well, bye now, Sergeant Hennessy and Mr. Rivera.
Bye. I like that, mister. A lady only had titled friends.
And who's the big guy following her up the stairs there, huh? I never seen him before.
It's okay, Juan. He and his little bride just moved in. Nice people.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I have seen his wife. Something to look at, huh, Sergeant?
Pretty as a picture. Which is more than you look like, leaving your big fat rump against the building. Too many tortillas, Juan. Come on, let's go patrol.
And you know, it's a funny thing. The longer the day goes on, the heavier these boots get.
Just thank himself up there you live in Queens on the first floor. And not up 4 long flights like poor Mrs. Schofield is climbing now. You'll never make it.
Can I give you a hand?
Oh, thank you, young man. I'm afraid these stairs are beginning to get the better of me.
I'm David Miller. My wife and I just moved on the 4th floor, apartment B.
Oh, well, I'm Letitia Schofield, top floor. Oh, well, Just one more now, if I ever make it.
Well, I'd be glad to see you home safe.
Safe? Oh, Lord bless you, son. In this house, that's never anything to worry about. 7 years I've been here, and it's as safe as a church.
Are you sure you can make it now?
Oh, don't you worry. I fly this last flight like a bird.
Fran, it's me. I got the cup hooks and the other stuff.
Hi, darling. Oh, I've just been fixing and fiddling, and it's all just as perfect and wonderful as I knew it would be that first day when we took it.
Hey, take it easy. You want to break me in half?
No, I just want to hug you as hard as I can to let you know how happy I am. Oh, nothing could break you anyway. You're as hard as steel.
Not inside. Not when you're this close.
Well, I want to be as close as close. I love the apartment, darling. I love you. I love us. Do you love me?
You know I do. All I do is have to look at you. You're so beautiful, Fran.
Okay, you just keep wearing those rose-colored spectacles, and I'll stay that way.
I don't need spectacles. Nothing the matter with my eyes.
What floor you'll be working on today, Dave?
76. Just started to frame up.
Oh, darling. See, I wonder at you sometimes. Aren't you ever afraid?
I wouldn't want to take time to think about it. You can't. Fear's like rust. Once you let it start, it corrodes everything.
Oh, I'd be afraid of losing you.
You start thinking that way, and you destroy the way we love each other. Don't you forget yesterday afternoon.
Don't you?
Don't worry, I won't. Well, I'll see you around 4.
And it's an eternity. But it's worth living through, just so we can see each other again.
And I'm the one who gets the best part of that bargain.
What are you, Juan? The bird of ill omen? You're always hovering over the bulletin.
It's that fellow top dog. If I could catch that piece of filth, then all the rest of being a cop, the other dirt and waste, and most of the time being too late to stop it, it would be worth it all.
Yeah, I know how you feel. He's a maniac. He kills too often. But me, I just hope he stays out of our precinct.
He seems to be working the other side of town. Now, here's a bulletin in from the 13th. Looks just like him. But I am not like you. I want him in our precinct so I can find him and destroy him.
Anyone catches him is really going to have their eyes peeled. In the meantime, we'd better hit the beat. So far, what's that?
It's our precinct. Fire on the big new Haverford casualty building. All personnel alerted for fire department support.
Okay, Juan, I'll check with the lieutenant. You'll see what squad cars might be available in case we need to ride.
What caused the fire, Sergeant?
Well, I got it from the crew boss. Your husband's been breaking in a new bucket.
Yeah, I know. His regular partner, Duke Max, he sprained his ankle.
That's right.
And I know the new guy's a scatter-arm, but this wasn't the first rivet he's thrown out of Dave's reach.
No, man.
And even as red hot as they are, Sergeant, even on wood floor, the rivets aren't likely to start a fire.
Yeah, well, this one did. You see, they were just about to start welding on one of the joints, and the welder had just brought up his tank and uncoiled the hose. The rivet your husband couldn't catch landed right on the rubber hose, burned through it like that.
Oh, God.
And flash-fired back to the tank. Yeah, that was pure oxygen, ma'am, and it went off like a bomb. It's a lucky thing for Mr. Miller. The welder was kind of between him and the tank. A human shield, like.
Oh, poor man, how awful. I hope he wasn't hurt too bad.
He didn't feel no pain. Yes'm.
And Dave?
Here comes the doc now. She's the one to ask. Dr. Beinfield, this is Mrs. David Miller.
Oh, how do you do, Mrs.
How's
Miller?
my husband, Doctor? Is he hurt bad?
Well, not in general, Mrs. Miller. Do you know what happened?
Yes, the sergeant told me about the explosion and the other man.
The welder, yes. Well, he absorbed almost all of the flame and the flying metal.
Almost all?
Unfortunately, well, one of your husband's eyes was badly burned.
Oh, no.
Plastically, we can patch him up as good as new, but I'm afraid the sight...
Oh, no. No. Oh, but Doctor, the other eye, that's all right, isn't it? Please, isn't it?
Mrs. Miller, I have to ask you to be brave. The other eye was hit by a piece of the tank that we've been operating. Fortunately, your husband was far enough away so that most of its force was spent. There was no injury to the brain, but the optic nerve...
Go on, Doctor.
Well, I'm afraid it was completely destroyed.
You mean my Dave is blind?
Oh, Mrs. Miller, I'm sorry.
You had to walk in and see me. No. Just keep your mouth shut and do like I tell, mister. And just walk over to that wall, away from the door. Keep your hands up. Say nothing, right? Not a peep. Not even to beg and crawl and tell me you never seen me. You never seen nothing. You didn't see nothing, mister. Nobody sees Top Dog and lives.
A vicious killer on the other side of town from an unconscious young man who doesn't know yet that he will never wake to light again. A psychopath who doesn't deserve to be alive, and a fine young man tragically turned into a someone else he will find hard to live with. What do these two have in common? Why do they belong in the same story? We shall begin to find out when I return shortly with Act 2.
Give your hand to a friend. Give your heart to your love. But give your cold to contact. The sooner the better.
The common cold is a rotten thing. You miss so much. Sneezing, drips, and congestion can drag you down. Then ask yourself the contact question. 6 or 3 or 1. You'd need 6 cold tablets, 2 every 4 hours, or 3 ounces of Cold's liquid, 1 every 4 hours, or just 1 contact for up to 12 hours continuous relief of those symptoms. That's daytime, then nighttime relief. Both the others have things for aches and fever, and the liquid, something for coughs. Not found in Contact 600 tiny time pills.
Give your cold to contact.
6 or 3 or 1. Take Contact. Only as directed.
Hey, Mom, what's for dinner? Hey, Mom, what you got?
Here's this week's dinner winners from your ShopRite supermarket. Fresh American whole leg of lamb, just 97 cents a pound. Shoulder lamb chops, $1.27 a pound. First cut beef chuck steaks, 59 cents a pound. Semi-boneless beef chuck roast, 99 cents a pound. Fresh pork spare ribs, 89 cents a pound. Fresh honeydew melons, just 69 cents each. Lots of variety for your menus and savings, too. So get a lot more for a little less. Throughout your ShopRite store, it's ShopRite.
She loves the family. She wants the best. She does all that she can do. She lets ShopRite do the rest. Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? ShopRite has the answer.
This is WOR New York, an RKO General Station.
In the long weeks that followed, Dave tried to make his adjustment. He faithfully followed all the instructions of his teacher who came daily. Most difficult was persuading Dave to leave the house, to learn to walk on foot, to carry the white cane, pain that was the badge of his condition. One thing only he did willingly enough: exercises. He kept himself as fit and hard as he'd always been. Outside, he was still the same Dave Miller, alive and vital. But inside, something at the very core of him had died, particularly after the riveters came to the building at the corner.
Oh, Mr. Miller, can I give you a hand upstairs?
No, I don't need a hand up. Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Schofield. Mrs. Schofield, isn't it?
Yes, and I'm the one that's sorry. I spoke before I thought. It's just that you don't know how I dread those stairs, so
I'll do the helping. Huh? I gotta find some use for myself. You got groceries there?
Oh, just a few. Most I can manage at one time.
Well, you give me those. Come on here. Now, let me have them and take my other arm.
Oh.
And this time, I am taking you right to your door.
Oh, my. Oh, well, that's the easiest trip I've ever made, I think. Oh, thank you, Mr. No, I think I'm old enough to say thank you, Dave.
Sure, Mrs. Schofield. Here, I'll give you the shopping bag now.
Oh, good. Oh, well, won't you come in a minute?
If I knock over your furniture or bust something, don't forget I'm blind.
Oh, you wouldn't let me forget. But I wanted to show you my terrace.
I waited too long to see it, I'm afraid.
Oh, well, you can still smell the flowers and feel how cool it is and hear my little fountain splashing. Even with all the other racket, I can still go out there and feel at peace.
Terrace, huh?
Mm-hmm. And I'll even make you some lunch. Friend's at work, isn't she?
Well, somebody has to make it to pay the bills. Okay, just guide me so that I don't make a fool of myself.
Well, now you just give me your hand and I'll guide you. That's my silver tea caddy that Fred, he was my husband, he gave me for a special wedding present. He knew I always... Oh, watch out for the chair. Here. He always knew I liked to set a good table. And that's my corner cupboard with my bells. Fred gave me one every New Year to ring it in. 35 of them. He died before he could give me the last. Oh, now, here's the terrace. I'll get the door, and watch out for the step over.
Yeah. Oh. Hey, something smells good.
Oh, that's honeysuckle. It's just like a weed, really. It takes so much pruning, but I can't bear to get rid of it.
Oh, they're good smells, too.
Mm-hmm. Roses, gardenia, carnations.
That honeysuckle's getting stronger.
Oh, that's because you're right near the edge. Now, careful.
Yeah, I feel the coping. What's down below?
Oh, the sidewalk and the areaway.
Long drop.
Huh.
That's what drives me real crazy.
Oh, I don't blame you. It bothers me a lot.
Oh, no, not for the same reason. That's where I ought to be. Up there, with my gun.
Watch it, Juan. He's got a gun.
We know that. Did you hit him?
I never even saw him. He went over the fire escape so fast.
Let's get after him.
It's too late. He was 4 or 5 rooftops away, and between 2 of them's a jump neither you nor I could make.
It was top dog, wasn't it?
And by all the signs. Another top-floor apartment, another corpse. And something new I don't like at all.
What?
He's moved his territory. He's in our precinct now.
Boy, drive that rivet home. What? Who's that? Fran?
Yes, Dave. Oh, I'm sorry about the riveting gun.
Well, they'll be jack-gutting all day.
Well, I should have closed the bedroom window when I got up. I'll get it now.
No, I'll do it. What time is it?
5 after 8. Darling?
What?
Why didn't you go on back to bed?
No, I couldn't sleep now.
You must be so tired.
Why should I be tired?
Because you were up half the night again. You were prowling about in the...
So say it. In the dark. What else is there? I got things on my mind. Oh!
Oh, what are you looking for, darling?
My slippers.
Well, I'll get them for you.
I can get them for myself. Will you stop treating me like a baby? Never mind, I got them.
Dave, don't find it so hard to ask me for things. I'm your wife. I want to be everything to you. I've always tried to be. Is it so hard to let me be? Dave, can't I be your eyes? I'd give them to you if I could.
Oh, honey, come here. I'm sorry. Just try to bear with the bear, huh? That's not much of a joke.
I think it is. To hear you cracking one again. Second best thing you could do for me.
What's the first?
Well, as long as you are up, couldn't you kiss me good morning?
Oh, darling, forgive me. I love you. Good morning.
Good morning. I love you.
Sit down, honey.
Oh, Dave, I haven't time. And it's payday today. I'll be home real early.
Okay. Can't do anything to interfere with the old take-home. Somebody's got to keep a roof over our heads.
Honey, listen. Don't get down in the dumps again.
What is the point? I feel so useless. I gotta do something. I gotta find something to keep me busy instead of hanging around in the apartment all day, twiddling my thumbs and going nuts.
Well, you ought to be taking your walk, getting some air.
Sure. I tried that yesterday, bumping into everyone, bumping into everything, having little kids help me across the street. I tell you, when I went up with Mrs. Schofield, I was ready to take a dive off her terrace.
Oh, listen, I can't leave you like this, Dave. Why don't you listen to the teacher and you get a dog?
No. How many times are we going to have to go around that again? Gee, forget it, honey. Look. Maybe I will look into it. Don't worry about me. Worry about yourself, huh? Hey, what's the time?
After 8. I've got to get my coat and fly.
Yeah, any hot coffee left in the kitchen?
Oh, no. And Dave?
Yeah?
Well, you'll have to make instant, because the electric pot is on the fritz again. Darling, it shorted out the whole house when I plugged it in this morning.
Did you put in a new fuse?
Oh, sure. Oh, where's my bag?
I'm the last person to ask. But I'll fix the percolator. It's just a loose connection. And, Fran.
Yes, darling.
While I'm at it, I'll try to rewire myself.
Oh, darling, I hate to leave you in this mood.
Yeah, in this mood, I ought to be left. I'll see you around 5.
Okay, maybe earlier. Oh, and there's fried chicken and corn on the cob for dinner. Well, that ought to bring out a grin.
From ear to ear.
Oh.
Just look at me.
My favorite sight. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Good morning, Mrs. Schofield.
Oh, Mrs. Miller. Oh, I'm so glad someone's going downstairs. You know, they'll be the death of me.
Here, you lean on my arm.
Oh, thank you. How's Mr. Miller?
Oh, Dave's coming along fine. How's your son?
Well, I don't see so much of him. He's off at business so much.
Well, I should think you'd want to live with your family.
Oh, no, I'd only be in the way. My son and his wife have their life to live, and 3 is a crowd. Besides, it's good for old people to be independent. If we had to hold on to our pride, we'd fall apart without it.
Not only old people.
Oh,
I was just thinking, what can you do for someone who's lost it?
Well, you can't. Just count on time for Dave.
I'll try to remember. There, that's the last.
Oh, good.
I'll get the front door.
Oh, that's awful riveting. I'll be glad to get away from it for a day.
Morning, Mrs. Schofield. Mrs. Miller.
Oh, good morning, Sergeant Hennessy.
Good morning.
Could I remind you that me and Juan Rivera are collecting again for the Police Boys Fund? Could I put just a wee bite on your board?
Well, not on me now. I've only a subway token and lunch money till I get paid. But I'll be back early. Before 5 this afternoon. Could you stop back?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, could you wait for me till then, too? I've got to catch my bus.
Well, I wouldn't bother either of you, except in a good cause, but I wonder now,
Should I be troubling Mrs. Miller at all under the circumstances?
You let her contribute her bit. Don't undermine her pride.
Well, it's Dave Miller's pride I'm thinking about, now that he can't work. Yeah, I was laid up once with a bullet, and I thought I'd never be a whole man again. But I had the chance to recover. Well, what has he got?
What'd you say, friend?
You mind if I turn off the TV?
Be my guest. I can't look at it anyway. That hammer was driving me up the wall. I had to kill the noise.
Poor baby.
I'm gonna have to get a dog, friend. You're right. At least it'd get me out of the house more often.
Why, hon, that's what you need. You've got to start living again.
Living. Living. That was living for me. Fran, you just don't know. Slung in a rig, feet braced against a column, whacking home those red-hot nails. Or straddling a crossbeam as a bucket man and picking those sizzling babies out of the air and lobbing them up to the gun hog and his funnel. Or passing them on with the tongs. I tell you, a guy felt like a king. I mean, you owned the world. You were building a whole city. You could turn any which way on your perch and you could see the...
Dave, darling. Darling.
Gee, forget it. It's over. It's done with, and so am I. I'm no good to you.
You're my world, darling. You're all I want. But you know... You're acting like a baby. It's about time. It's about time that you started acting like a man again.
How?
By facing your problems. By realizing that, well, in spite of what's happened, you're as good as any other man. And for me, you're a darn sight better when you're yourself. I'm going out and make a cup of coffee.
You can't. I used up all the instant.
You didn't fix the percolator?
I tried to, but it's in the elements somewheres. And guess what? I couldn't fix it because I couldn't see where.
Dave, where are you going?
I'm going out. I'm no good to you. I'm no good to me, to nobody. Just let me figure my own way out. I should climb up to Mrs. Schofield's and just take the big step over that honeysuckle off of the terrace. What? That was a gun. Hey, who's there? Did you hear a gun? Shut up.
Drop that white cane.
I need it. I can't see.
Hey, you mean you're blind, man?
Yeah, but who...
Oh, boy, this is your lucky day. I almost let you have it, too. Okay, now move away.
Who are you?
Move away. I said move it. I got a gun in my hand, and I'm busting clear out of here.
It's okay, Juan. If you tried to lug that lump of lard on your rump up 4 flights, you'd be liable to have a heart attack.
Cops. Okay, Mank. Is this your apartment, huh?
Yeah.
Here, you feel that? That's a rod. It's loaded, and I ain't got no cause not to use it again. So open up your door and get me inside.
Why should I?
The name's Top Dog, man. That bring you in a line? You heard of me, huh?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And you know I don't mind using this.
That's just what I was thinking about. Maybe I should just let you go ahead. My best way out. What would you say if I just said, go ahead, shoot?
It's taken a while, but these uneven antagonists have met. By sheer chance. Now the smell of fear hangs heavy in the air. The desperate criminal about to be caught red-handed. The hopeless young man who thinks he has so little left to live for. A moment of desperate decision for both, which we will return to shortly with Act 3.
Ever see a beer drinker pour his beer real easy down the side of the glass? Maybe you do it yourself. If so, the Budweiser brewmaster thinks you're missing something, especially if you're a Budweiser drinker. You see, Bud is brewed, so it will kick up a healthy head of foam. Exclusive beechwood aging and natural carbonation make it a lively brew. Well, anyway, pouring Bud plunk down the middle of the glass helps bring out the best in that clean white Budweiser foam and real beer aroma. It also helps you get the full benefit of a taste, smoothness, and drinkability you'll find in no other beer at any price. Remember, brewing beer right does make a difference. Next time, pour that Budweiser right down the middle and see for yourself. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
At Suburban Savings in northern New Jersey, you're always the tops. So to help you reach the top, Suburban is offering you a top 7.90% effective annual yield on their 7.50% savings certificates. And Suburban guarantees it from 4 to 10 years. Just a $2,500 minimum is all you need to get your savings straight to the top. Federal regulations allow premature withdrawals on savings certificates, provided prescribed federal penalties are adhered to. Of course, Suburban also has other ways to top off your day with a wide selection of other savings plans to choose from. Your savings will always come out on top because we offer you the highest interest rates allowed by law. Come into any Suburban Savings office conveniently located in Bayonne, Edgewater, Elmwood Park, Emerson, Hackettstown, Morris Plains, Nutley, Paramus, Sparta, and Wayne, and choose the right savings plan for you.
This Sunday afternoon's clash between the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills is brought to you in part by M&M Mars, the fun-sized candy people. And I'm Dave Herman for all the commentary throughout the game. Broadcast time over WOR Radio is 12:35.
On the fourth floor landing, Top Dog looks in awe at the first person he has ever met who shows no fear of the lethal weapon that has killed without mercy so often. From below, approaching gradually, is the measured tread of the sergeant of police as he toils up the stairs towards them. Above is the woman Top Dog has just murdered, and he knows there is no rooftop escape from this house.
You open that door, man, or you die.
Suppose that's just what I want. Someone to do for me what I haven't got the guts to do myself.
No, that's just where you get it if you don't open that.
Dave!
Shh. Okay, lady. Okay, that's it. Now, I got a gun. Now, back in the house, or I let your husband have it.
Please don't.
Same goes for you, mister. Now, you don't move, or the lady gets it.
Okay, don't shoot. I'm with you.
This your wife?
Yes, so help me if you...
Shut up. Now, nobody's going to get hurt if I get out of here, okay? But I'm warning you. I got nothing to lose. Now, I just knocked off that old dame upstairs. So the both of you just freeze and keep your mouth buttoned real tight, or I start blasting. Now, shh.
Hey, Juan.
Yes,
Juan.
Yes.
I was just looking out the second floor hall window. There's an old heap parked on the other side of the street.
Yeah, I see.
Check that plate, will you? Looks like a stolen car to me.
Lousy copper. What's he want?
Maybe he heard the shot.
Oh, come on, over that rivet gun? Hey, what's that lousy cop want here anyways, huh?
Every cop in this city is looking for you, Top Dog.
Dave, don't bait him.
That's okay, lady. I know that. I am number one.
Sure, something to be really proud of.
Did you really shoot Mrs. Schofield?
She caught me going through her apartment.
To shoot an old woman in cold blood?
Well, she seen me, didn't she? No. Listen, baby, I'm a 3-time loser. Now, I got nothing to lose.
But that poor little thing you...
Hush. She could have pulled me out of the file. She seen me. And anybody sees me on a job gets it. Anybody catches me on a job gets it. Hey, that's where you get a break, man. Now, ain't you glad you're blind, huh? You couldn't give him a make on me. Hey, lady, you blind like your husband?
No,
Yes, we're both blind. So, you seen me too, lady, huh? Well, that's kind of too bad now, ain't it? Hold it down, everyone. Who's that?
I guess it's the sergeant.
What's he want here?
Mrs. Schofield and I promised him a contribution for the Police Boys League this afternoon.
Well, maybe he'll figure you ain't home, huh?
No, he knows I'm here. I just said hello to him at the corner. You see?
So pay him off.
You're hurting me.
Now, look, you just cool it, man. Now, look, Jake, you got one other job to do. Now, you keep that cop from going upstairs, huh? And no funny business.
If you do anything to my wife...
button it up, helpless. You're the first to get it if anything goes wrong. Now, you get it, lady?
Yes.
Then, go on.
Oh, afternoon, Mrs. Miller. I knocked and got no answer. But I rang the bell because, well, I'm sorry, but I knew you were home.
Yes, I went to get my bag.
Something wrong?
No. I'm just still a little out of breath after the stairs.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I took my own sweet time on them. It's one tough climb.
Here's the money.
Oh, thank you. And now I'll just make out the receipt.
Oh, that won't be necessary.
Oh, it won't take a moment. We're supposed to, you know. If I could just step in a minute, I'd like to say hi to Dave.
Oh, you can't.
Are you all right? You're acting kind of funny for you.
It's just Dave. He's not feeling so well, but he's lying down, and he has his bad day.
Oh, yes, I understand. Poor guy. Lousy thing to happen. I'll just scribble this against the wall. Well, just one more flight to go, and I've done my bit for the PBL. If I can make it.
Mrs. Schofield?
Yep.
I don't believe she's home yet.
Why, sure she is. I saw her in the corner grocery not 10 minutes ago, and she was on her way back then. Here's your receipt. I'll be seeing you.
Why didn't you stop him?
How could I?
Before he finds out what you've done, now is your chance to make your break.
No, you keep your distance, helpless. I don't trust you.
What harm can I do if you get away? I don't know what you look like.
Your wife here does. Let me think. If I close the old lady's door, maybe he'll think she went out again when she doesn't answer. Did I close the door? I don't remember. Or were her keys still in the lock?
Come here, Fran. Now, you better make it quick if you're getting out of here. And don't try any shooting. You can't hit Fran with her behind me.
You lousy...
Juan, are you down there?
You bet. And then where's the stolen car?
Never mind that. You get out to our car and put in the 1020.
Hey, you got a DOA?
It looks like a homicide. And Juan.
Yes, Sergeant.
Cover the front door. Nobody goes in or out. There's a chance whoever did it is still in the building.
And what's your step, Dave?
This one looks like your boy Top Dog.
Santa Maria.
Just get on the horn, will you, and get us some help.
That tears it.
Dave, look out! Dave!
Don't scream, Mrs. Miller. One peep, and it won't be a little pistol whipping for your hubby. I'll lay his brains open. Okay, helpless. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Well, then on your feet and in the bedroom. Hey, wait a minute. No fire escape. Fine, let's go.
What about my wife?
Oh, she stays with me. I need her. Now, listen, the both of you. This is a .38 I got in my hand. Now, I don't want to use it. Now, when that cop come around to check up, there ain't a sound from either one of you. Now, if he does come in, I'm in the closet. But I want you should listen close, Mrs. Miller. I can still blow that hole through your husband and the cop, and then you, if you don't follow orders. There he is now. Now it's up to you, Mrs. Miller. Get in there, helpless. On your face in the bed.
Mrs. Miller?
I ain't closing the bedroom door.
Mrs. Miller?
Now I can watch every move you make. Go ahead, Mrs. Miller. If anything goes wrong, I might even shoot you first.
I understand.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry to bother you again, Mrs. Miller.
What's the matter, Sergeant Henderson?
No, are you all right?
Why, has something happened? I was in the kitchen, and I thought I heard shouting.
That was me and Patrolman Rivera. Now, I don't want to upset you, but but there's been an accident upstairs.
Mrs. Schofield, is she...
She was killed by a gunshot and robbed. Probably by a professional who goes by the name of Top Dog. He's a vicious, psychopathic killer, and there may be a possibility he's still in the building. If only we knew exactly when the shot was fired, we'd have a better idea. Maybe I'd better ask Mr. Miller.
Oh, he couldn't have heard anything. I told you, Sergeant, he isn't feeling well, and I'd given him a sleeping pill, and so he was to the world.
Oh, well, God knows I wouldn't want to disturb him. I'll go on checking, and just be sure to keep that door closed and bolted, and don't open it to anyone till you're sure who it is.
Well, that was close.
Now, what do you expect to do?
Right now, we're all going to sit down and relax until the excitement's over. And then I'm just going to walk right up.
Suppose they put a watch on the building.
Sit down, everyone. Now, I've been thinking about that. Comes out easy. Once the cop gives Mrs. Miller the all clear, I get me a real good disguise and just the right kind of protection to get me away clean.
What's that?
Huh? Well, your wife here is going to take her poor blind husband for a little breath of air. Nice walk around the block. Only it'll be me in your turtleneck sweater behind the dark glasses and carrying the white cane.
You can't get away with it.
Why not? Once it's good and dark. You know, lousy cops still hanging around. It's almost dark. Hey, you. Hey, baby.
Yes?
Turn on the light so I can see. Okay. Now, pull the shades. And you can shove them shutters closed as well. Come on. Hey. Bet it's dark as the bottom of a well in here without lights, huh? Hey, how come a blind guy wants it so dark, huh?
Mike wasn't always blind. In fact, he used to be so sensitive to light.
Okay, spare the sob story now. Get me some more lights on while we're waiting for the coppers to take off, huh?
Yes.
Oh, now, wouldn't you just like to have your hands at my throat? No gun, pair of eyes to see? I bet you think if we was on equal terms, you could take me.
I'd sure like the chance to try.
Well, you ain't getting it, baby. Hey, how's for some coffee, huh?
Coffee? No, I'm afraid I can't.
Of course you can, friend.
But you said we were out of instant.
Yeah, we are, but you can always make some in a percolator.
But the
Yeah, just plug it in. It's just what we need.
Oh, well, if you think...
Oh, come on. No tricks. I'm standing right here where I can watch the both of you, huh?
Okay.
What are you waiting for? Now, plug it in. Come on.
Hey, what's this? Lock yourself in, friend.
Hey, how did you fix the lights? I can't see you.
How do you like it?
Come on, where are you, helpless? You come near me, I fill you full of lead. Keep away from me or I'll shoot. That won't do you no good. I'll get to the window. I'm going to get me some light and then
You haven't a chance, not on even terms.
If I could see you. If I could only see.
You're on my turf now, buddy.
I still got my gun. Some light. I'm
just one little more move and I'll break your arm with pleasure.
Dave!
All right, honey, I got him. I could handle 6 punks like this. Get his gun. It's right by my foot.
Let me go, mister. I'll give you a break.
Yeah, I'll give you a break. You shut your mouth or I'll break both of your arms.
I was so scared when I heard the shots. I thought it was all over.
All over. Friend, honey, it's just beginning. No one is ever going to call me helpless again. First of all, myself. I'm not afraid of the dark anymore. That's my element. And you'll see. I'll find a way to make it work for me. But you better put in a new fuse. The police will need some light when they get here. Those shots will bring them running.
Oh, Dave, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, it's even better, Fran. So am I. I got my own pride back.
There are none of us without handicaps to overcome. And in the battle against them, pride is a good and just weapon. Dave Miller's is a great one, but he'll conquer now that he knows the way and has found the desire.
Excuse me, sir, but do you know what happens this time of year?
Right on, pal. I happen to know that right about now a freak blizzard falls on Dumont, New Jersey, and they're snowed in for the rest of the summer. Happens every year.
Nope. You see, what happens this time of year is that you can get a particularly good deal on what is perhaps the most luxurious midsize car on the market, the midsize Buick Century Regal.
Well, what good's a car when you're hopelessly snowed in?
Well, that's a point.
Our cast included Mason Adams, Augusta Dabney, Bryna Rayburn, Leon Janney, and Earl Hammond. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Tonight's WOR Mystery Theater was also brought to you in part by ShopRite Supermarkets, where you get a lot more for a little less. By Suburban Savings with offices throughout New Jersey. And by Dubonnet, a wine to go before your meal, made to make what comes after better. The preceding program was furnished by the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This is Bob Considine for the National Leukemia Association. Please remember this name, Project Research. In addition to our other services, our special effort named Project Research has been established to help deliver a knockout punch against leukemia. Send your tax-deductible donation today to Project Research, care of the National Leukemia Association, Box 3003, Garden City, New York. This is Bob Considine saying thanks to you for Project Research. You know, we're committed to conquering leukemia.
Dial a set for news with John Scott reporting. This is WOR New York, an RKO General Station.
The Army will appeal federal court order freeing Lieutenant William Calley. Former President Nixon has a potentially dangerous clot in his right lung. Interpol warns of world menace. Smuggling of liquid hashish. It's 61 degrees in Midtown. The man says mostly cloudy tonight, mostly sunny tomorrow. This is John Scott with the 8 o'clock edition of the news, featuring the Financial Review. The Army announced tonight it will move to appeal a federal judge's decision overturning the murder conviction of former Army Lieutenant William Calley in the My Lai massacre case. The Army issued a statement saying it will recommend to the Justice Department the decision of U.S. District Judge J. Robert Elliott be appealed, that the Justice Department move for a stay of Elliott's order. Elliott, sitting in Columbus, Georgia, ordered Calley freed immediately from the Army prison at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. The Army said that Calley will not be released from confinement pending a decision on these recommendations. The Justice Department acts for the Army in cases before the federal civil courts. If an appeal is made, it probably will be taken to the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans. Former President Nixon's doctor says there's a blood clot the size of a dime in Mr. Nixon's lung, and that it represents a potential danger, but the doctor said the clot is not critical at this time. However, the risk that a larger clot could form remains. The doctor says chances for the former president's recovery are good. This is the third day of Mr. Nixon's hospitalization, and he apparently is experiencing no pain. He's expected to remain in the Long Beach, California hospital for at least another week. Incidentally, his resignation from the California bar was accepted today by the California Supreme Court. He sent his resignation by mail on September 16th. The Ford administration has threatened to veto the mass transportation bill that would provide $600 million in interim operating subsidies to rail and bus lines. Supporters of the bill claim it's necessary to hold the line on transit fares and not raise fares in major metropolitan areas. Head of the Urban Mass Transportation Administrator, Frank Herringer, told Senate House conferees he's going to urge President Ford to veto the bill on grounds it would remove the urgency for Senate action on the 6-year, $11 billion transit package already approved by the House. Meanwhile, New York politicians appealed to Congress today to vote more money for rapid transit. Republican Governor Malcolm Wilson said Congress should act on its own and not be put off by hints of possible vetoes. Wilson's Democratic opponent in the November election, Brooklyn Congressman Hugh Carey, made a similar appeal. He says President Ford and Vice President-designate Rockefeller should speak out for the Minish-Williams emergency bill as a means of combating inflation. Plans for 9 projects to improve rail freight facilities in the New York metropolitan area were announced today by Governor Wilson. The projects will involve both the Penn Central and the Long Island Railroad. Wilson says the projects will be financed with a $30 million appropriation by the 1974 legislature, plus funds from a $250 million rail preservation bond proposal to be voted on in November. He says the bond funds will attract substantial federal money. At sundown today, Jews around the world began observing the Jewish Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. It is the most solemn day of the Hebrew calendar, and it's marked by a 24-hour period of fasting, prayers, self-evaluation, and repentance. Observance of the High Holy Day begins with a chanting of the Kol Nidre. It asks for God's annulment of vows that were taken unwittingly, rashly, or under compulsion. The holy day ends at sundown tomorrow. Jewish sources in Moscow report police attempted to clear the street in front of the Moscow synagogue tonight as Jews gathered to celebrate their Day of Atonement. The sources said minor incidents broke out, and one Jew was detained by civilian militia and KGB police, who now regularly show up outside the crowded synagogue on Jewish holy days. Jews who could not get inside the synagogue were ordered to leave the area. The Commerce Department says the United States had a record monthly deficit of more than $1.1 billion in August. The higher cost of foreign oil continues to be a major factor in the country's worsening trade picture. The International Police Agency, Interpol, says the smuggling of liquid hashish, a potent derivative of marijuana, has become a world menace. Interpol says illicit production of marijuana and liquid hashish is on the upswing in India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Lebanon, and Morocco. The World Police Organization unanimously adopted a resolution expressing particular concern to the growing traffic and the abuse of the drug. It urged Interpol countries to crack down on traffickers and manufacturers of the liquid hashish. The drug, because of its small bulk, is easy to smuggle. The WOR News Time. It's 5 minutes past 8. The search for a 7-year-old boy abducted from a schoolyard in Rutherford, New Jersey, spread to New York City today after a worker spotted a car believed used in the kidnapping. WOR's Ed Nash reports.
An automobile registered to 23-year-old Thomas Burns has been located in a Midtown Manhattan garage, and Burns has been formally charged by U.S. Attorney Jonathan Goldstein with the kidnapping of 7-year-old George Kaloyarakis. The announcement was made by the FBI in Newark. A citizen's call to the FBI revealed the location of Burns's auto, and the search for him and the boy continue. Here are descriptions of man and boy provided by FBI Special Agent Brad Wickersham.
Burns is described as a 23-year-old white male, 5 foot 6 inches tall, 150 pounds, short brown hair, and brown eyes. Kaloyarakis is described as a 7-year-old white male with dark brown hair cut in a page boy style with bangs to the eyebrow level. He was last known to be wearing a white T-shirt with the words Ridin, R-I-D-I-N, -High, H-I, Ranch, Warrensburg, New York. A blue denim jacket, dark corduroy pants, red, white, and blue sneakers, and a New York Yankees baseball cap.
Anyone recognizing either Burns or the boy are urged to call the nearest FBI office. This is Ed Nash, WOR News.
In El Paso, Texas, 3 alleged bank robbers were arraigned before a U.S. magistrate. A 4th member of the alleged gang is still being sought. The 3 in custody are 16, 15, and 13 years old. The 10-year-old is the one the FBI hasn't nabbed yet. Authorities said they'd hang around banks as though waiting for parents to finish banking, wander around behind the teller's cages asking questions, and then, when no one was looking, grab some dough. The Kitty Heist gang allegedly made off with $6,000 earlier this month. I'm going to make off with the weather and the top of the news right after this.
After lots of time and lots of miles, you get to know your car. You want it to be trouble-free, no matter where you are.
Your Delco dealer wants something you've got. Your old battery, any brand, no matter how old. Have your Delco man check your old battery today. If it needs replacing, he'll make you a trade-in offer on a new Delco battery.
The battery that gives you an instant burst of starting power start after start. Check with your Delco man and see why. The more you know, the more you'll want Delco.
Well, the more you know, the more you want Delco. Your local Delco dealer is the one to see. Your local Delco dealer is the one to see.
For the Delco Energizer and all Delco products, go to Westchester Auto Supply, 1007 Yonkers Avenue, Yonkers, New York. That's Westchester Auto Supply in Yonkers.